This is Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily with Andrew Hustler Paterson and Michael Remis.
What is going on, everyone? Hope you had a great weekend. It is good to be back. Welcome to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Andrew Paterson with you. Big thanks to Remo and Connor for holding it down last week. Well, I was out at Aikens Lake, had a great time, and kind of interestingly enough, this was a trip that we were supposed to take last year during August long weekend, which is traditionally the time of the year that we'd gone out. And due to the unfortunate fire situation out there, they were unable to take guests at that point. So unfortunately, with May being wide open, with the Jets not being in the playoffs, there was an early spot, so we got in. We all know how brutal the spring had been and how bad the weather had been, including a historically bad May long weekend. Well, we went out in May, but brought the August long weekend weather with us. And I know I don't look too red. That is because there was multiple applications of 50 sunblock all day long because, my God, did we get some incredible weather. Just right off the bat, Pitt, Julie, the Aikens team, the staff out at Aikens Lake could not have made it for a better few days for us. Our guides, Boots and Eric, were amazing. Incredible shore lunches, and caught a lot of fish too. Did not quite get to the 28-inch master angler. I'll give my brother Dunk a shout out. He was a raw rookie and ended up with the biggest one, I think 26 and a half. But overall, I mean, a few days out in paradise was so good to get out there. And be doing it again later on this year, actually in September this year, with the winner of the auction prize from the HSC gala dinner. So looking forward to that. But check out aikenslake.com if you haven't before. And think about getting out there if there's availability later on this season. We've got so much to get to today. Cup final, obviously set. That gets going tomorrow. Today is media day. NBA finals gets going on Wednesday. Pretty awesome game 7 between, in my opinion, the two best teams in the league on Saturday night. A world championship disappointment for Canada. And, of course, it is Blue Bomber season. The CFL is back. And we got a football game to talk about this Friday in Calgary. Derek Taylor, the voice of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on 680 CGOB, is going to join us to wrap training camp, going to get his thoughts on the upcoming season. We'll also talk about the Cup Final and the Jets off season, and maybe even a bit of the Worlds with Mike McIntyre. Connor is going to join us later on after Mike in and around 2:30 today. For those of you with us live on YouTube, I would have had Connor right on at the start of the show with myself and Remis, but it would have inevitably descended into 30 minutes of the three of us talking about our frustration with the CFL's season-long fantasy site that we attempted to do a draft last night. So I don't want to be complaining and bitching for the first 20 minutes of the show. So Connor's going to join us later on. We'll discuss that, get his thoughts on the game and the upcoming. By the way, speaking of CFL 110 is back. The debut episode for 2026 is tomorrow morning at 10. We'll go live. Hammer's on the IR. Connor's going to jump in, but myself, Connor, and Remo will make some picks for the upcoming week 1 of the league and, maybe some bold predictions for the upcoming season. So if you are a CFL fan, please join us tomorrow live 10 a.m. right here on the Winnipeg Sports Talk YouTube channel. And obviously we'll have that podcast coming up a little bit later on. Speaking of the CFL, just before we bring in Michael Remis and mention all of our sponsors, we're going to have Jake come on tomorrow. And I know he teased this last week, but the CFL season-long pick'em contest, which is completely free at CoolBet, is live right now. I urge you to not wait on this. Get in, get your picks done for week 1. There's an all-expenses-paid trip to the Grey Cup for the winner. They'll be giving away $50 a week and a CoolBet credit for the weekly winners, but the prize is phenomenal. And again, it's completely free. And what I would suggest to all of you is get your picks in, and then on your phone, do a little weekly reminder on Wednesday just to make you have your picks, because the key to this will be consistency. If you miss a few weeks and you're taking zeros, it's going to be really tough to win. You can still win weekly prizes, which is awesome. But if you want to be in the mix for the Grey Cup trip, you're going to need to get your picks in every week. So again, if you go to CoolBet, go down to the bottom of the page. On the left, you'll see under sports, CoolBet League. Click on that. There's one that says WST on it, and it's the CFL Pick'em. Yeah, you got to log in to do that, but it'll just be over on the right side. And then right now, you can make your picks for the first 3 games of the season, which, of course, there it is, win a 113th Grey Cup experience, Winnipeg Sports Talk. You click on that, and then if you're watching with us on YouTube, or if you're on the podcast, you want to go back and see it, and then you simply just put in your predicted scores for each of the games. You get points for the win. You get bonuses for the correct points for either team, and it'll be done weekly, but I would suggest a Wednesday reminder to make sure you're in, and you can play against all of us here at Winnipeg Sports Talk, and whoever makes the best picks throughout the year is going to be heading to Calgary for an incredible Grey Cup experience with CoolBet and Winnipeg Sports Talk. We'll talk more about it tomorrow when Jake is on the program, but don't wait. Get your picks in, set your weekly reminders, and give it a shot, and maybe you could be at the Grey Cup, hopefully watching our Bombers get back to the game. Obviously want to thank CoolBet and all of our sponsors, including Princess Auto, Chud's Power Sports, Clean Line, Plumbing, Heating, and Electrical, the Tri-Hospital Lottery, Manitoba Battery, Aikens Lake Wilderness Lodge, Breezy Bend, Royal Sports, Boston Pizza, Little Brown Jug, Travel Manitoba, the Gold Eyes, Assiniboia Downs. Can't wait to get to the track on Wednesday with our winners. Rolly's Transfer, St. Vital Dental Center. Congrats to all the winners in the Match Play Championships for Golf Manitoba on the weekend, presented by Dr. Terry and St. Vital Dental Centers. Great supporters of golf here in Manitoba. And of course, we will get to a why not question of the day for Not Autocorp at Waverly and McGillivray. Great to see you all in chat, and great to see you, Michael Remis. What's going on?
Welcome back, Huss. I gotta say, there was a lot of people in chat who were positive you were going to be very red and sunburned when you came back, and credit to you for not only putting on sunscreen, but as you mentioned, reapplying during the day. And shout out to chatter, where was it? Someone said, oh, the awesome miner said you took a picture with their son at the beer festival, Flatlanders, over the weekend, and you were just bragging to me before we started how you took so many pictures with people, and everyone was coming up to you.
I was not bragging. I was telling Remis, I said, hey, you know what? I mean, obviously at Jet games and stuff like that, we'll see a lot of people that are listeners that'll say what's up, but it was like, first of all, that Flatlanders Festival is so good. If you like beer and the ready-to-drink beverages, I mean, it's a really, really fun afternoon or night. We went on the Saturday night with some friends. But it was awesome. There was a ton of people that came up and said hi. And, you know, listen, I mean, being a little older now and, you know, having my own crew, what stood out to me was how many younger guys that maybe don't get a chance to pop in on chat all the time were fired up about what we're doing here at WST. So thanks to everyone that popped by and said hi. And And I was also buoyed about it was a much younger group of WSTers than maybe seen. So if you're listening right now and you are one of those people, make a point of trying to get out to some of our events. We will be doing our Gold Eyes game on June 30th. That would be a great time to come out. We'll take over the patio and have a little patio party with the crew. So overall, good times were had, and obviously the weather was absolutely incredible. Still pretty darn nice right now. We're owed a few weeks, but we got some midsummer weather when we were out at Aikens. It was hot on the weekend, and now we got lots to talk about this week, which is nice with the championship series in both the NHL and the NBA going on, Bomber season starting, and of course, the World Cup beginning next week right here on home soil with Canada taking on Bosnia and Herzegovina. Just a quick note, we won't get too much into the soccer today, but if you were paying attention Friday night, right before the Bomber game, Canada's squad for the World Cup was named. Brutal news for Marcelo Flores, who blew his ACL on the weekend in, I believe, was the CONCACAF championship match. So there's a lot of excitement about him coming from Mexico, where he had played as a junior, to Canada. Was certainly going to be a guy that got on the field for us in the World Cup. He is out right now. Canada's playing Uzbekistan tonight, Reem, in Edmonton. And it'd been kind of funny because they had some real nice weather earlier in the spring. And, you know, we were sitting there looking at 6 degrees, 7 degrees. Last time Canada played in Edmonton for the national team was, of course, the legendary Ice-Teca game, which had the 42,000 people in the snow, and Canada had that massive win to pretty much clinch our spot in the World Cup in 22. They're playing Uzbekistan tonight. They are in the middle of a rainfall warning. It's 9 degrees. The wind is gusting up to 60 today. There's going to be some hardy soccer fans filling that building in Commonwealth for this game tonight. But finally, we're getting on the right side of the weather with everything that we've had. How was your activities on the weekend? Did you get out and about?
Yeah, my wife was out of town, so I was solo.
Whoa!
With the kids. Yeah, nice. Nice. We went to the zoo Saturday. Very nice day. And yeah, shuttling to and from activities. We had a nice block party on our street. A lot of young families getting together for a barbecue. Perfect weather for that. So
big rager.
It feels amazing just to be able to go outside. So I'm putting my kids in shorts. It's fantastic.
Well, this is, listen, there's a lot going on right now. We mentioned CFL is back. We got to wait till June 11th for the Bomber home opener. But the Gold Eyes are back this week. They're going to be at home starting tomorrow. So you'll have some baseball games to go to. And, of course, the Assiniboia Downs. And we're going to be there on Wednesday with our winners. Shout out to, I believe it was Dallas, Cowboy, and Chelsea, who are our winners. So we'll look forward to seeing you all with your guests. And should be a heck of a lot of fun. But, Remo, one thing you did tell me you did with Evan was take in some World Championship hockey on the weekend.
I'm a big World Championships guy. Nothing like waking up in the morning and turning on hockey. And I remember being half asleep years ago when Anson Carter scored a big goal for Canada. And we almost had that moment on Sunday morning in the bronze medal game, ignoring Canada's loss to Finland, which I was following. It was in the middle of the afternoon. Canada never seemed to get close there. But in the bronze medal game, tying it with 7 seconds left, Robert Thomas scoring 2, and you think, 3-on-3 against Norway, Canada's a shoo-in. Scheifele, Celebrini, Crosby, Rob Thomas, they should get it done. They didn't really generate any chances at all, and I think Scheifele and Celebrini had a bit of an extended shift, which ended up in an odd-man rush, and that was the game. Norway, bronze medal, that's like a gold medal Super Bowl win, beating Canada at the Worlds with those type of players. Congrats to Norway, who had lost. They got dominated on Saturday by Switzerland, and Canada had a really tough time. I think, there's no excuse for losing to Norway with that kind of talent, but the Evan Bouchard injury it was pretty devastating for them. Morgan Riley doesn't have that offensive club in his bag anymore. He's not that type of player, and I think they really struggled with that. So it was disappointing for those guys to go all the way over there and not even come home with a medal. And we talked so much about how stacked this team was, and when it came to the big moments, they did not come through, and losing again in international hockey in 3-on-3 has too many flashbacks to February at the Olympics.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the level of national angst over this is nowhere even in the ballpark of what it was with the Olympics. It has been a tough run, though, for our Canadian teams. I mean, both with the men's and the women's teams coming out of the Olympics and then to this. I mean, like, you've got some of the best players in the world. How you are having to come back against Norway is beyond me. I mean, again, I'm not going to stress about it too much. I mean, in fact, it's an amazing story for the Norwegians. Like, dude, to be honest, I can't even remember the Norwegians even getting to Pool A. Like, watching and looking at the standings throughout the tournament, I'm like, what is going on? Like, Austria and Norway had these awesome tournaments. I mean, for the Norwegians to beat Canada and get a medal, I mean, for the game outside of our borders, it's probably one of the great stories of the year. But just unfortunate that it's at Canada's expense, although there's been some shocking losses to teams where Canada had been incredibly favored over before in the past. And, obviously just with the timing of the tournament and what the players have been through, kind of hard to really judge it overall. But you would have loved to, for Scheifele and Velarde and DeMello's sake, to see those guys get a medal. They didn't. You knew the second that Finland won the gold medal, there'd be a plethora of Ville Heinola takes out on the old social media yesterday, and well, it didn't disappoint. Plenty of revisionist history, I would say, but I got to tell you, really happy for Ville. This young man has had a really, really rough number of years due to injury and a whole bunch of other things that had really conspired to halt his growth, into an NHL regular. And I wasn't sure whether there'll be NHL work for him next year. I mean, he did pass through waivers. Anyone could have had him for free this year. No one took him. But, for his sake, you hope that maybe what he was able to do at this tournament gives him another look in the National Hockey League. And if that's not going to be the case, they'll be able to have some fun partying with their gold medals. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of opportunities for him professionally. But I guess the big question, why not question of the day for not Autocorp at Waverly and McGillivray? Shout out to the guys over at Not. In the chat right now, and Remo, maybe a pool. This is a yes or no question. Is Ville Heinola in the NHL next year? Playing in the NHL next year? Yes or no? I'm sort of 50-50 on this. And granted, I didn't watch enough of the Worlds, particularly the Finland game, to be able to tell, like, wow, this guy looks like he's ready for prime time. Bottom line is, won a gold medal, played a lot for the team. So, if anything, maybe a bit of a bright ending to a very frustrating season for the young man who will be going to unrestricted free agency on July 1st.
Yeah, I saw Pekka Jalonen on X, who's I know is a big fan of Winnipeg. 70,000 people estimated at the parade there in Finland for the gold medal. And we've talked a lot about Ville here. Again, about how his career has gone. He's a free agent after this season. And I think when he was put on waivers, anyone who claimed it would basically have to guarantee him a roster spot. And I don't think anyone was prepared to do that. It's a lot different to signing him to a low contract.
Well, you don't have to guarantee him anything. I mean, you can pick him off waivers, play him for 2 weeks, and if it doesn't work, you didn't pay him again, you put him on waivers, and if the team picks him back up to go to the AHL, I mean, it literally is a no-risk acquisition, except he has to be on your team. And, you can't pick a guy up to send him to the American League. He can stay on that first team. So I'm going to be really interested to see what sort of opportunities are out there, or I mean, I could also see him being a guy that probably would get some pretty nice European offers, especially after the World Championships. Say, you know what, I've given my run at the National Hockey League. It didn't go well. Give me a great setup with the top European team, and I'll go there right now. So I guess we'll see, but let us know your thoughts in the chat on... and Shane Payne says, absolutely, someone will take the low-risk gamble. Well, I mean, listen, guys can sign. I'm talking about, will they be a player? Will they be an NHL regular next year? Like playing 50 games, 60 games in the league. I mean, you know, given healthy, will they be on the ice in NHL action as opposed to, you know, signing a 2-year deal or something like that? And then our old pal Ehlers got it done again. I sort of missed the opportunity to talk about that, Remo. I mean, got to tell you, I thought that Ehlers' Game 3 was probably, I mean, listen, he did have was it a triple OT winner for us? No one remembers it because there was no fans at the building back in the COVID season against the Oilers in that sweep. But that had to be the height of his NHL career. I mean, the goal that he scored to tie the game up and then the winner in OT, you could say Nikolai Ehlers killed the Montreal Canadiens, because after that moment, the Habs had absolutely nothing, and they were completely dominated by the Carolina Hurricanes. And I don't think that's really a surprise. What really was the shocker of it all to me is that the Colorado Avalanche couldn't even get a game against the Vegas Golden Knights. And it's Vegas and Carolina meeting in the Stanley Cup Final, having played only a total of 9 games combined in the conference championship.
Yeah, that Western Conference Final we thought was a clash of two incredible teams going to go the distance, but Colorado had been penciled in by everyone to advance to the Cup Final, and the ineptitude of the offense, you know, not able to get anything going at all, not able to win a game, you know, the blown lead, the game where they had the 3-0 lead. It was shocking to see Colorado look the way they did, and credit to Vegas, who seems to be peaking at the right time. And Carolina is a team that's been on the doorstep of the Cup Final for years, but not a lot of success in the conference final. And Montreal, you know, looked like they were going to steal one the way they've done all postseason in the Game 7s. And there was Nikolai Ehlers going and putting one past Jakub Dobeš, who had incredible playoffs. And, you know, Carolina's, you know, talk about Vegas depth. Carolina's got 3 pretty solid lines. And amazingly enough, Nikolai Ehlers led all forwards in that overtime, in that game. And you talk about the depth chart. I mean, he's on the quote third line, but he plays everywhere. And, you know, if you had to pick a forward for Conn Smythe, is it Taylor Hall, who's on the second line? And their top line has really underperformed all playoffs with Aho and Svechnikov. So I'm really interested to see this matchup. You know, Carolina's been puck possession team so much. Vegas plays aggressive defense. And how will they go against head-to-head? And the goaltending as well. A big matchup. Both goalies have been excellent so far. So will it be low scoring, high scoring? How many games? We'll have to get our full predictions in before the puck drops tomorrow night. Nice of them to bump it up early after both the series ended in 4 and 5 games.
Yeah, absolutely. We get going with the Cup Final tomorrow. And I love the schedule, too, selfishly, for a Bomber fan. We have, like, this is sort of a quiet night. Tomorrow, Game 1 of the Cup Final. Wednesday, we're doing ASD, but we've also got Game 1 of the NBA Finals, which is going to be fun to watch. Thursday, back at it for Game 2 and CFL kickoff. And then Friday night, no hockey, Bombers at Stampeders. And we will talk Bombers, Stampeders, and the rest of the upcoming CFL season coming up in a few minutes with Derek Taylor of 680 CGOB. You can see it. So is it just every day? No, there's 2 days between. So what, we go Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then Sunday, Monday off. Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Oh, wow. So yeah, two days off in between game 4 and game 6. Sorry, game 5 and game 6. And then the same with game 6 and game 7. The latest the Cup could finish would be June 17th, which still is a little bit nicer than, to get it done. We've kind of drifted into that final week of June on a few occasions. I do remember the Panthers people, had to basically rip right from the celebration of the Cup to the draft. So they'll be a little bit done. Hey, we'll talk about this a bit more with Connor right away. Remo, have you seen this trade in the National Football League?
I did see Myles Garrett heading to the LA Rams.
Crazy. So this is just breaking in the last few minutes. Myles Garrett, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year with the Cleveland Browns, is going to LA to join the Rams. And it is a big-time package that Cleveland is getting back. Young stud defensive end Jared Verse is going to Cleveland. A 2027 first-round pick, a 2028 second-round pick, and a 2029 third-round pick, along with Verse, to the Cleveland Browns. The Rams obviously going all in on trying to get another championship in the final year or two of Matt Stafford's career, and they got arguably the best defensive lineman, QB assassin in the league, in Myles Garrett, coming over to Southern California to play with the Rams. Man, NFL training camp's going to get going soon. We got CFL back. It now officially feels like summer, and let's not forget about the World Cup getting going next week as well. Our focus, though, quite a bit this week is going to be on the CFL. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., live right here. Join myself, Connor, and Remis for a special edition of Kickoff CFL 110. We'll make some picks for week 1, talk about the offseason and everything else going around the league. Hammer, I hope, will join us next week when he's off the IR. But Jeff will be back, and we'll look forward to getting him back in the fold very, very soon. And, of course, Connor's got the Bomber Report with Schnitzys. That's going to be regularly throughout the year. You can mark it down as well, 9 a.m. Mondays with the fellas to recap everything that happened Bomber-wise up on the WST channel. Listen, we're going to talk to Derek Taylor coming up in just a few minutes. But I should remind you, folks, we're getting down to the short strokes for the Tri-Hospital Lottery in support of the Health Sciences Center, the St. Boniface Hospital, and the HSC Children's Hospital. You still have a few days to get your tickets to make sure you're in for some of the biggest and best early bird prizes you've ever had. 26 winners with prizes worth over $257,000. Including your choice of $210,000 cash or a 2026 Land Rover, Range Rover SE and 50K, or a 2026 Mercedes-Benz G580 SUV valued at over $245K. There'll also be 25 winners of $500 cash. And of course, with every ticket, you're supporting our 3 most important hospitals and eligible for the grand prizes of one of 6 dream home packages worth over $1.7 million or $1.35 million cash tax-free. Get your tickets today. TryHospitalDream.com is where you'll find the website, TryHospitalDream.com. Get your tickets today. If you do want to get them in person, you can pop by your local London Drugs location or Red River Co-op as well. Our friends at Cleanline are busy. Man, I see the trucks all over the city now, which makes sense because Cleanline is Winnipeg's most trusted plumbers with over 40 years of fast responses, lasting results, and 24/7 emergency services across all of Winnipeg. They'll help you with residential or commercial plumbing, as well as heating and electrical services. As we mentioned, like Adam Lowry's got the backs of his teammates, they've got yours 24/7, 365 with emergency services whenever you need them. Mark the number down, 204-500-2001. That will get you taken care of morning, noon, and night by the experts at Clean Line. And if you would like to schedule an appointment or find out more, go to cleanline.ca. Well, summer is officially here. We are into June. Our friends at Manitoba Battery are busy getting you ready to enjoy your summer. If you're needing batteries for a bike, motorcycle, ATV, boat, RV, you name it. If it's something that you got to power over the weekend when you're out making the most of the Manitoba summer, Manitoba Battery has it. Not to mention the best prices in town, beating the pants off the big box stores, but the best in customer service as well. They've got some great deals on right now on deep cell batteries. And, of course, everything you need to dominate your summer weekends or your holidays is waiting for you. Pop by and see them. Logan Avenue, the new location on the south side on Dovercourt Drive. You can also give them a call or order online at manitobabattery.com. Delivery options available anywhere inside the perimeter of Winnipeg. And, hey, if you do have a move coming up, folks, over the course of the summer or into the fall, hit up our friends at Rolly's Transfer, the moving experts in Winnipeg and the most trusted name in moving for over 60 years here in Manitoba. Head on over to their website at rollys.com. You can get all the information about their services. But if you click on that requested estimate in the top right corner, make sure to use the promo code WST for a special discount on moving services and moving supplies. Simply let them know when and where you're moving and what needs to be moved. The friendly staff at Rolly's will turn it around quickly with a great quote and get you locked in for the white glove treatment that they have been famous for now into their 7th decade. For all your moving needs, make it Rolly's Transfer. Find out more or request an estimate today over at rollys.com. All right, Mike McIntyre coming up later on today. Talk a little puck right now. Let's get ready for CFL season with the voice of the Bombers, Derek Taylor. DT, are you ready to kick off or what?
I am. Training camp is long. Like I'm not out there cracking heads or anything, but it's long watching guys crack heads. So I am ready for football to count for something. It's going to be good.
Listen, I do want to look ahead to the Bomber opener in Calgary on Friday and get your thoughts on the league. But just to put the preseason to bed, quick thoughts on Friday. And let's face it, the big story of training camp and the preseason was Taylor Elgersma, and he got a chance to get out there again. Just takeaways, first of all, from the young Canadian quarterback and what you saw Friday night.
Yeah, improved. He got better over the Saskatoon game, right? There were no interceptions. Everything felt a little better. He felt in command. It wasn't the most potent BC defense that he had to face. They had a couple of starters in there, but the front it felt like no push on the Bombers offensive line, even though it was a depth offensive line as well. So that certainly helped him work. So it felt better. And now, we've seen it. We've seen him. They use design quarterback runs, like quarterback draw was maybe a bit of a surprise for a guy 6'5", 240, but it was good to see that they think that's part of his game as well. And now we hope they put that in the cupboard for 24 straight weeks because Zach Collaros is healthy throughout the entire season. I say with my fingers crossed.
Anybody else from Friday that helped their cause enough to avoid being on that cut list yesterday in your mind?
Yeah, I think Christian Fredrickson, the receiver, he had like 6 catches. I think he was probably good anyway, but that one salted it away, right? Whatever troubles he had in that Saskatoon preseason game, they were gone. He made some catches in that game. He got put in some bad spots and made catches. So I thought Fredrickson salted it away. I think Dorian Singer was already on the team. I think Kenneth Womack, the other receiver, is probably on the team. We got a lot of time for Hunter Pontius, the right tackle, and he made the team at the expense of a guy like Kendall Randolph, who started every game last season. And then defensive rotation guys kind of seemed the way I thought they would. It probably didn't hurt David Reese to to do some stuff in that game, as opposed to the 2 15-yard penalties he took in the game against Saskatchewan. So, yeah, Fredericks is probably the one that stands out, but just some kind of general thoughts, having seen all of camp and then the preseason on who they kept around.
Well, I know Taylor Allen was talking with Remo on Friday and could not wait to put the preseason behind him quick enough. And I'm sure most fans are in the same boat. Looking forward to that home opener next Thursday. And, of course, the first game of the year this week. Before that, they had to get down to the roster. You mentioned Kendall Randolph, who was a mainstay of the Blue Bomber offensive line, getting a pink slip yesterday. How surprising was that? Was there any other names on that cut list that maybe had you do a double take?
Randolph was the big one, right? Because he literally started all 19 games last year at right tackle. And as camp went along, you looked at it and went, okay, well, somebody's in trouble here, right? Because there's Micah Vanderpool, Kendall Randolph. There was a lot of Tyler Ellsbury as the interior guy playing a lot of center. Hunter Pontius is just, he's a mountain of a dude. He's like 6'8", 330, and he had some really fantastic stuff in training camp. So you looked at that and thought, okay, what if they want to try to keep somebody else? They do. They keep Mike Mazkua, who's an interior American offensive lineman as well. And somebody had to go, even though Randolph, in 2024 had played some interior for the Bombers. I guess it just wasn't his time. I mean, 19 starts last year. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get scooped up somewhere along the way. But so, yeah, that one caught me a little off guard. DeAndre Lamont is a veteran from the Ottawa Red Blacks. They ended up releasing. He might have been handicapped by the fact they only had him playing at halfback as opposed to both halfback and corner, because they're set at half, right? Dietrich Nichols, Evan Holm, Retta Cramdy at safety. They're set in kind of that interior. So that might have hampered him. And then the late one was Kamari Mounier-Bailey. They released their 25 cuts, and then later they put out a press release saying, hey, we've released Kamari Mounier-Bailey. A global guy like that goes on your practice roster for free. There you have an extra spot that a practice roster could be to global players. So that one caught me off guard, and then how immediately Ottawa scooped him up. That one I wasn't necessarily prepared for, but so those are the big ones. The other ones are okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and hopefully these guys get a chance to bounce back in the CFL somewhere.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly ask you about Jackson Tuchinski, because he, of course, was released from Edmonton, got signed. He had been at that camp with Lapo in the flag football. He was released. Is there practice roster possibilities for Jackson, or is he now potentially moving on to move from tackle to flag?
Yeah, I wonder if I know Lapo said on our pregame show he's making a push for Jackson to, hey, come play flag football. Come play a lot of flag football. You don't have to go to those practice rosters, because I'm Paul Apolice. I've been an OC. I've been a head coach. I know receivers in this league. I can help you on that front. In the meantime, come win a gold medal with the Olympic team. And they're doing a lot of traveling, that Olympic flag football team this year. So I assume Lapo's going to be very much in Jackson Tuchinski's ear to get him out there as that second quarterback that you can have in flag football, because Jackson's skill set, size, and everything would seem to be perfect for something like that.
Derek Taylor with us, the voice of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on 680 CJOB. All right, DT, so the cuts have been made. Practice squad is set. Looking at the Blue Bomber roster heading into Friday night, in your opinion, where are the areas of strength for the club, and is there a question mark or two in the roster that you have to see what plays out?
I think the big question mark right now is injury status coming out of training camp, and what does that mean for Canadian receivers? Dembski missed a ton of camp. Kevin Clercius didn't practice or play since the game in Saskatoon, so you wonder what those guys' status will be for Friday. They brought in receiver Daniel Oladejo to provide Canadian depth, the guy that Tommy Condell is familiar with. So you wonder if that says something about the status of Dembski and Clercius in advance of the game. Just as I take a look over my shoulder at the roster, defensive back depth, I like it. They've got Canadians to back up the Americans as long as Moxie is healthy. Linebacker is good. Interested, Huss, to see what happens on the defensive line, because what they showed in the preseason in no way reflected what they were doing in training camp, and it was totally different from what they did at the end of last season as well. In training camp, in the preseason games, it was all four-man fronts. It was two defensive ends, two defensive tackles, let's go. Late last season, it was three-man fronts with Tony Jones as kind of a defensive end linebacker hybrid type player going wherever he needed to go. I don't remember seeing any of that in the preseason games whatsoever. So I really think there's going to be a pivot there. And, will it be Deshaun Dixon, Kadron Jenkins? Will it be David Reese as the end opposite Willie Jefferson? How much will Newer Gatkuth get to play, the young Canadian 4th overall draft pick? That'll be something to watch, because that's one of the important spots, right? Who's going to be that extra defensive end now that James Vaughters is off in Saskatchewan? So that's one to watch. Canadian receiver, running backs, they're really healthy at running back. Brady Oliveira is going to take 95% of the carries. I hope there's some action for Michael Ike running the football this year, because he is so fast and his lateral is so good. Plus he does that fullback stuff as well, the tight end stuff. But I really want to see him after that 63-yarder he ripped off in week 21 last year against Montreal. I really want to see Michael Ike get some chances in the run game. But they come at expense of, the Bombers' most outstanding player 3 years running. So that may be hard to squeeze those ones out.
Hey, it's funny you bring up Brady and, a fullback. For fantasy players, and we won't get to CFL fantasy. Well, it's a different segment. But it is
draft still locked up. Is that what it is? Is that the problem?
We're in the 14th round right now. It has been incredibly frustrating over the last number of years for fans, for DK players, probably for Brady Oliveira himself, with the amount of touchdown vulturing that has taken place by the third quarterback. Terry Wilson is gone right now. Do you think that it is status quo, where if they're coming down to the 2 or the 1 yard line, they're bringing QBs in, or might we see more Brady Oliveira goal line work this year?
That's a real question that we didn't get really an answer to in the preseason games, is what does Tommy Condell believe inside the opponent's 5 yard line, right? Jason Hogan, Buck Pierce figured, we're getting Strebler out there, let's go. That when you look at, say, Bryce Perkins' skill set, you go, okay, this is the guy they could use inside the +5, because Bryce can run, as he showed in the game against BC. He can throw well enough to handle that stuff inside the +5. And it takes some licks off of Zach Collaros. Bryce can also quarterback sneak. He showed some real savvy in his quarterback sneaks in the game against BC. So it wouldn't surprise me if they go with a different quarterback inside the opponent's 5 yard line. I just don't remember seeing that in any indication of that in training camp and in the preseason games. So, Tuesday at practice will be kind of a big deal. And then, Friday. After Friday, we'll know the answer, but I wish I had a better one for you. But there could be Bryce Perkins as the touchdown vulture this season.
Again, I hesitate to lean on you too much on this question, just because we all know that the preseason is what it is. There's a lot of guys that aren't even here now that were playing in it. But how different do you think this Bomber offense is going to be in general under Tommy Condell? And did you get much out of that through the course of training camp?
Yeah, I don't know that how much it'll be different. There are a couple of technical differences, right? Gavin Cobb is playing that wide receiver in training camp. That's the guy who will come off for the tight end. And it's interesting that is not a guy who is set on the line of scrimmage. That's a waggle player now. And then, it's bumped a guy like Kevin's Clercius inside. So Clercius is kind of a different role as opposed to being that tight end guy. He's a slot receiver backing up Tommy Neal. Okay, well, that's neat. There's a little change in that. The fact that Cobb is, the wide receiver and gets the waggle means a guy like Dorian Singer could maybe take that spot if they decide that Dorian Singer is a guy to play with. So folks have asked about the running game. Like, the Bombers' early down run rate last year was just under 50%. So I don't expect that Tommy Condell changes that at all. If you think you've got the offensive line to run the football and you think you have the running back to run the football, which I think we can probably all agree that the Bombers have both of those things, you're going to run the football on first down, and then hope there are good yards there and you're in a second and medium, second and short situation. But if it doesn't go well, there is going to be a lot of throwing the football, because if you get 2 yards on first down, you have no other option, right? So I'm not worried that Tommy Condell won't run the football because of his, despite his reputation. The way everybody talks about him, he understands. He gets it. He understands, 1, football, 2, Blue Bomber football, and 3, Brady Oliveira is pretty good.
DT, let's look ahead to the season. West Division overall. I know you've been probably hard at work with your predictions and whatnot. Is it still the Saskatchewan Roughriders that are the team everyone's going through? How would your preseason or week one before kickoff West power poll look?
It would have BC number one, and then to me, I just think there's a real gap between BC and then everybody else. Like the best player in the Canadian Football League in Nathan Rourke, the best receiver in Keon Hatcher, maybe the best Canadian receiver in Justin McInnes. There are a lot of spices in that, and Canadian receiver, whichever one you want, but McInnes might well be it. Solid enough in the running game. They're going 4 Americans on the offensive line, which I really love the thought of that for a team. Their defensive line looks sick. Like they got Casey Sales in after Hamilton released him to go with Matthew Betts, to go with Jonah Tavai, to go with, I presume Tehama is going to be the other end opposite him. Linebackers, they filled in with Darnell Sankey. Not too bad whatsoever. They'll have to fill in some spots on the defensive backfield over last season with Robert Carter being gone to the NFL. But I look at that and go, I don't see any real problems with this team, and I see some real powerful spots. And, oh, by the way, the best quarterback in the Canadian Football League plays for the BC Lions. So, as I'll say with every team, if they're healthy, to me, this is a team that I look at and go, yeah, if they want to win 14 games, I feel like BC could win 14 games this year, especially with, Saskatchewan lost some very important free agents. Winnipeg is hoping to improve over last year. Calgary, for some reason, Calgary's win total is 8.5 this year on Play Now. I don't know that I understand why that is. And everybody thinks Edmonton's on the come up because they added some receivers. Man, I mean, that Austin Mack, Joe Robustelli combo on the short side could be really good. And Cody Fajardo can win football games. Like, he can help you win football games. It may not be the 13 wins he had in Sask in 2019, but he can help you win football games. So to me, it's BC, significant gap. And then I honestly, Huss, I really don't know what happens with the next 4.
It is, it's a really cool landscape. And especially for the Bombers. Now, historically, like I can't remember, you might know this off the top of your head. Nathan Rourke's record against Winnipeg compared to everybody else
not great.
Has been a bit of a nightmare. So, hey, I mean, listen, if you feel like you can beat Nathan Rourke, but hang with the rest of it, I mean, it is a good place for the Bombers to be. I'll be honest. I thought that Broxton signing was so big for Winnipeg that they needed to get back to playing with the offensive line being an area of strength for them. With a lot of the ways that this team was built, Canadian talent and on the line of scrimmage. How far ahead do you think the Bombers are on both sides of the line of scrimmage, knowing how important that's going to be if they want to win in the trenches starting in week 1?
Yeah, I think the move for Broxton was incredible, right? There are only so many great tackles in this league, and a lot of them never get free, right? They never become free agents. BC decided they were able to move on from Allen or couldn't afford him or whatever it was, but pardon me, Broxton. I keep saying I was thinking Dejan Allen, but no, Darrell Broxton. They thought they could move on from him. Okay, well, that's a choice, I guess, and one sometimes you're forced to make as a team. So that the Bombers went so hard after him, highest paid American offensive lineman in the league. That's the move he needed to make for now and for probably the 6 years that follow this year, because he's only 32, right? So however long he wants to play, he's probably got a spot in Winnipeg. I'm with you on the offensive line. I've said this forever, and you and I have had this conversation before. I'd be throwing money at offensive linemen, and I would figure out things like running back a little later, just because I think everything pivots off of that. So, yeah, another year for Gabe Wallace as a starter, another year for Pat Neufeld, who missed a couple practices in camp, and then we'll see what they do at center. It was Tui Eli to start with, but he got nicked in the first preseason game, and so Tyler Ellsbury took over. They could easily go American there if they choose. But, yeah, such a massive point to go out and ensure that the offensive line is set for now and for years into the future. The defensive side becomes interesting for the Bombers, right? I believe the defensive front is incredibly important, but the Bombers, they run 3 defensive linemen and, are last in the league in sacks. And there's no reason to think that won't be the same again this year because they prioritize holding teams to a 61 or 62% completion rate, which was by far the best in the league. Oh, okay. I hope Serezna gets an opportunity to get one-on-one with somebody, because he dusted some interior guys in camp to an absurd rate of speed. Man, I'd like to see that in the regular season. But if he's going to get doubled, because Willie's getting doubled and now there's only one guy free to go one-on-one. Okay. Jordan Younger's got a way. I'm still not 100% used to how he runs it, Huss, but damn if it isn't effective, because it's 5 years in a row that they've allowed the fewest points to opposing offenses.
DT, looking over at the East, I believe it was last year you were pretty high on Ottawa. They did not come through for you.
Drew Brown. I love my Drew Brown.
I was going to ask you, geez, were you just a year early on Ottawa? And then I heard that Jake Mayer's been named the starting quarterback. Make this make sense. But thoughts on the East, and is it Montreal and then everybody else?
So last year, and it wasn't a lot that he played, but when Davis Alexander played, Montreal scored like a 15-win team, 15-3. Had they scored at the same rate and played every game. Okay, that's pretty good. And the whole year for me, and Huss, I'm assuming you were the same, as you were looking at Montreal, you're going, well, when Davis Alexander gets back, ... So you started collecting Montreal Alouettes Grey Cup futures at a time where they were quite down, because McLeod Bethel Thompson. But when he gives way to Davis Alexander, it just changes this whole team, right? His ability to throw, his ability to run, that crazy cutoff shirt, like he's just got everything, right? He's got everything you want. So to me, Montreal is again, Montreal, significant gap. And then I feel like Hamilton, Ottawa, and I just don't know what to expect from Toronto. I think Chad Kelly can really throw the ball in this league and can play quarterback. He brings significant challenges, or certainly did last year, within that locker room, and new head coach, offensive coordinator that I don't know what to expect from Mike Miller now that he has the job. Ottawa, I don't know. I don't know what Ryan did when he knows about football. We'll just put that out there right to start with. I don't know what he knows about Jake Mayer. They work together. I don't know how you watch Jake Mayer in Saskatchewan or the last couple of years in Calgary and think, yes, I would like to see more of this movie. Like, they keep making Avatar films. I don't want to see any of them, Huss. I don't want to see. Jake Mayer is like Avatar 4 for me. I don't want to see it because it was not in any way enjoyable football that put the ball in the end zone. That's the other part of it. It was awful to watch. Wide receiver screen, hitch screen, little 5-yard out, stick route. Like I don't want to watch, matriculating down the field for 15 plays and then having Rene Paredes kick a 45-yard field goal, right? Brett Lauther, it'd be in Ottawa this year kicking 45-yard field goals. I don't want that. So I'm very curious to know what Dinwiddie sees in him. Maybe it's protecting Drew Brown from himself because Drew's had some injury troubles, but I was swearing on the radio. I was swearing there's no way a team would pick Jake Mayer over Drew Brown. And then the very next day, Jake Mayer is QB1 in Ottawa. So I don't get it, man. I just don't understand it.
What do we expect from the Argos this year? New coach, Chad Kelly back after missing an entire season. They've always had a pretty talented team. And to me, at least under Dinwiddie, they always seem to kind of get more out of the roster than we at least projected at the start of the year. But things seem pretty different in Toronto right now. And just maybe thoughts on Bo and the Ticats.
Yeah, so when I looked at Toronto's roster, I said, okay, actually, it's not the worst, right? Chad Kelly, over 10 yards an attempt in that 2023 season. He can really quarterback in this league. That was under Dinwiddie, which I'll caution because I don't know what Mike Miller will bring as head coach, offensive coordinator. DeMonte Coxey back from injury. Makai Polk is a legit receiver. Kevin Mattal had over 100 catches. Mattal's not stretching the field or anything, but catches are catches. I don't know what they're doing at running back, and they're certainly paying offensive linemen. They have Ryan Hunter at guard. They bring the former Saskatchewan kid, UBC, back from the Dallas Cowboys in the NFL at right guard. I'm going to my list because I'm blanking on one of the 400 names in the CFL. Dakota Shepley is back as the highest paid Canadian offensive lineman. Okay, that's certainly got some pieces to it that I like. Defensively, okay, they're going to try. Andrew Chatfield can do some things. Good at linebacker, defensive backs. Slook is a playmaker. Pickett's a playmaker. Deshaun Amos comes over from Hamilton. Tavares McFadden, he pass interferences with Nick Dembski and makes plays. Sure, fine, that's good. Toronto is not, I think their roster is not as bad as me thinking they're the worst team in the CFL, because I really see some points in there where I go, okay, yeah, I see this. The lesson I took from last year was I just can't bet on anything when you change offensive coordinators. And that was, for me, that was the Bombers. I thought they're going to be awesome. Oh, the offensive coordinator change has a way bigger effect than I was allotting for it. So I don't know what the head coach offensive coordinator change from a guy who I'm convinced Ryan Dinwiddie's an offensive genius in this game. So I just don't know what to expect from Mike Miller. So at the moment, I have them pinned to be last in the East and last in the CFL. But let's talk after 6 games and see what they've shown, because again, you may hate Chad Kelly, but he can quarterback in the Canadian Football League. Hamilton, Kenny Lawler. I mean, that's not too bad at all. They did some good stuff filling in on the offensive line, getting Trevor Reed back up from the NFL. Wynton McManus in the middle. They've suffered some losses, so Hamilton's going to be struggling. And Bo Levi Mitchell has had a season and a half of revival after I kind of thought he was headed for the exits. He's been good. It's not been unbelievable MOP level good. It's been 8.5 yards per attempt, and we're not turning the ball over, and we're sticking it in the end zone good. So Hamilton to me is 9-10 wins as long as Bo's healthy. After that, it's kind of up in the air. But they suffered some losses to Edmonton when stole all their players in the offseason. So Hamilton's one to watch. I just think it's Montreal and then a massive gap.
DT, you mentioned the Ticats looking at 9 to 10 wins. Just before we go, I know you're always all over these lines. I'm just pulling up Coolbet here and seeing what we've got for lines. So the East has the Argos at 7.5, Red Blacks 8.5, Ticats 9, and the Alouettes 10.5.
Yeah.
The West is Edmonton 7.5, Calgary 8.5, Sask 9.5, Bombers 10, and BC 10.5. Is there a win total on either side that jumps out at you as we dive in?
The one I've not understood at any point is Calgary 8.5, and it started at plus money to take the over.
Yeah, it still is right now, plus 105.
Yeah, and Calgary won 11 games last year. I mean, yeah, they had some losses. They just got Jalen Hutchings back from the NFL and signed him to a 3-year deal. That defensive front in Calgary is monstrous. So, they had some losses, but Damien Alford to the NFL, he didn't play a massive role in the offense last year, apart from that one game against the Bombers. He was good, and he was a threat, obviously enough to go to the NFL, but he wasn't such a huge part of that offense that taking him out of the ecosystem is going to kill them. I don't know that I understand why there's a massive drop-off predicted for Calgary. They didn't win a lot of close games, so that's not going to regress. To me, Calgary over 8.5 seems like a play, and I don't understand. I really don't get why it's plus money. It's come down from where it started, but I don't understand why it's plus money. BC at 10.5. If Nathan Rourke is remotely healthy, I think like I mentioned before, BC to me is 13-14 wins. A Toronto 7.5. I don't know what to do with that one, but Montreal's an over. Hamilton and Dinwiddie's a genius. They lost a lot of close games, so Ottawa should have more wins. But how many does that actually result in? Winnipeg's tough. Saskatchewan seems a little low, but Edmonton should eat up some of those wins, right? Some of those wins are going to be taken up by other teams getting better. To me, Montreal, Calgary, and BC to me are play the overs, especially Calgary offering you plus money. I still haven't seen a compelling reason why I shouldn't take Calgary over at plus money.
Any lean on the Bombers, or just a prediction for the Bomber record, period? I mean, it's 10, so 10-8 would be a push. Can they get to 11 wins? Will they challenge BC for the division, or will this team be in a similar situation as they were last year?
Yeah, the one way I thought 2026 would go well for them is if they brought in Tommy Condell, because Tommy and Zach, we've heard that story a bunch. So I think they're set to be better. Their receiving core is better, And the way they attacked big-time free agents in the Jake Ceresnas, we haven't seen yet. Jonathan Moxey on the corner. Tommy Neal's a real athlete in that slot. We mentioned Broxton and talked about him a bunch. BC's going to be so hard. There's going to be maybe an extra win against Calgary this year, as opposed to going 0-3 against them. They shouldn't split with. Well, they shouldn't get run out of the barn by Saskatchewan. So if I had to guess, I'm going to say 11 because I really think that just 4 points more a game from the offense would be so massive if the defense remains number one. But like I say, I just don't know what's happening 2 through 5 in the West. So I've stayed away from anything Winnipeg as far as advising friends to take anything Winnipeg. I would lean to the over, but it's just so uncertain. And plus, we haven't even mentioned that Zach missed 3 full games with injuries last season, including that neck injury, which might be a thing for as long as he plays. So yeah, I'm kind of holding my breath on the Bombers this year.
You, my friend, have a great season of calling games. The preseason is behind us. You got to practice tomorrow. You're going to get a depth chart this week, and you're going to be hitting the road and calling the game week number 1 of the CFL on Friday night in Calgary. That's an 8 p.m. game in Winnipeg. Fill people in on what you and the 680 CGOB Blue Bomber team have cooking this week, heading into game number 1 of the season.
Tonight is the first coaches show of the season at 7 o'clock. So Mike O'Shea live in studio with us from 7 to 8, where we take your texts and your calls. You can ask him about the Kendall Randolph release, Kamari Mounier-Bailey, the guys they're bringing in, the Tommy Condell for Jason Hogan swap. You can ask him about anything because he's with us live on the air for an hour. We'll have our reports on the sports show throughout the week. And then 8 o'clock Friday, in Calgary, the season opener with a pregame at 6 o'clock with Doug Brown and myself. And it's the biggest cast of characters of any CFL broadcast in the country, TV included. We'll see what DAZN brings, but they're going to have to do a lot to overcome what we do on CGOB. So, yeah, no, I just can't tell you, Huss. I say this with all sincerity. The days I call Bomber games, those are the 21 best days I have in the calendar year. So I cannot wait for Friday night.
Well, let's hope that there's 23, 24 of those games, but it all starts Friday night with the Bombers in Calgary. DT, say hi to the coach for everyone from WSD. Have a good one tonight. We'll look forward to checking that out and have a great call in week 1. Looking forward to having you back on the program as we get in to the Canadian Football League season. Have a good one, dude.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, great stuff with DT. Looking forward to hearing the coach tonight with Derek on OB. And got to tell you, fired up for Friday night and even more so for next Thursday when we pack Princess Auto Stadium for the Blue Bomber home opener. Hey, speaking of Princess Auto, a huge congratulations to all of our friends at PA. Big day tomorrow for Princess Auto, opening their brand new flagship Winnipeg East store. 500 Panet Road is where you will find it. And this is, I listen, Princess Auto's done a lot of amazing things in this city and coast to coast. But with their being founded here in Winnipeg and their headquarters here, this is now the flagship store for Princess Auto, coast to coast. More amenities in store. Listen, it's more than a store. It's a hub for new experiences, products, and the solutions that you've been asking for. More amenities so that you can get back to work in your projects faster, including the shop, a community connection space where you can work on projects, try out new tools, and have the room you need to create. An express entrance stocked with core products and fast checkout lanes, after hours access and pickup so you can place the order online and pick it up when it works for you, a quick service food counter for a bite on the go, letting you get back to what you're doing faster. Check this out, an in-store archery lane to try out the selection of bows or just to have some fun while you're there, and a tool engraving station so you can keep track of your tools or create a one-of-a-kind gift for someone else. Why they're doing it? You asked and they listened. More for work, more for play. The brand new Princess Auto. Check it out tomorrow. the grand opening, 500 Panet Road. I'm looking for, we're going to have to go do a show down there. Check out the new digs with our friends at Princess Auto. But listen, Princess Auto Stadium will be the place to be June 11th. Starting tomorrow, the brand new Princess Auto, 500 Panet Road. And I believe they got the crash test dummies coming for a grand opening event coming up on the weekend. I know another place that's real busy these days. It's Chud's Power Sports, the Derminator and the gang. Now that we are ready for summer, it is time to ride into it. Manitoba roads, prairie trails, endless memories. Your ride awaits at Chud's Power Sports. They've got an awesome Polaris all-out summer sales event right now on ATVs and just some incredible vehicles. And listen, if you're looking new, if you're looking used for off-road vehicles, motorcycles, equipment, marine work, boats, motors, an incredible selection of RVs as well. They are all ready to go for you at Chud's Power Sports. Make the drive up Highway 8 to the corner of 231 to see the gang at Chud's Power Sports. In the meantime, right now, go to chudspowersports.com to check out everything they have. New vehicles, used vehicles, financing options, promotions, and don't forget to hit True North Parts for the best clearance deals on blowout merchandise and apparel by top brands at Chud's Power Sports, chudspowersports.com. Up in Gimli. Tell them the boys that Winnipeg Sports Talk sent you. Should give a congratulations to the winners of the Manitoba Match Play Championships. Of course, presented by Dr. Terry and the great people at St. Vital Dental Center. St. Vital Dental Center has been a longtime sponsor of golf in the province. And congratulations go out to Jerry LaFleche, David Culk, Bruce North, and David Splur on their championships in the match play, which happened at the Whispering Winds of Warren Golf and Country Club, presented by St. Vital Dental Center. If you're looking for a great long-term home for you and your family at a clinic that's been serving generations of Winnipeggers and Manitobans, check out St. Vital Dental Center. Beautiful new facility at 167 St. Anne's with convenient free parking right behind the building and everything you could need from a dental clinic, from cleanings and checkups to things like dental implants. They do it all. Make an appointment today. Pop by and see him, stvitaldental.ca. And stick around for the end of the show, folks. Our friends at Boston Pizza are ready for the World Cup. And we are going to be giving away a Boston Pizza MVP platter every day until the World Cup on WST. So Mike's going to join us right away. Connor's going to jump on as well. Later on, stay with us. We'll do a wheel of winners once a day, and you'll be getting that. I had the BP MVP platter. It's phenomenal. And don't forget to wear red to Boston Pizza's Canada Red viewing parties at every local BP Friday, June 12th, 2 p.m. They're going to be giving away Team Canada jerseys, World Cup swag. They'll be giving away 3 huge Trion Authentic World Cup balls from Royal Sports. You got the $15 lunch special and cheer on Canada with a nice cold one. BP and Michelob Ultra are giving away a grand prize trip for 2 to the World Cup Final in New York. Are you kidding me? Every World Cup game is going to be on the big screen. Beers on special, prizes. Make your plans to support Canada and take in the World Cup at Boston Pizza. Stick around. Wheel of winners later on for a BP MVP platter. All right, let's get to it. Welcoming back to the program, Mike McIntyre of the Winnipeg Free Press. Mike, what's going on?
Huss, good to see you. Welcome back as well. You had a little R&R time just like I did last week. I spent most of mine on a golf course. You were in a boat, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was doing. We had a great time out at Aikens Lake. Brought a couple of my pals and my brother for the first time out there, and we had just an absolutely awesome time. I mean, the weather turned significantly. And, speaking of weather, we got Canada, Uzbekistan tonight. 42,000, I think, sold for Commonwealth. It's 9 degrees there. Rainfall warning and wind up to 60. So miserable out west, beautiful around here.
It is.
And certainly we've got lots to talk about. Hey, listen, just before we get into it, do want to mention that this segment's brought to you by your Prairie Toyota dealers in the Toyota Tacoma, featuring the standard iForce engine boasting an impressive towing capacity of up to 6,400 pounds. In fact, it's the most powerful Tacoma ever. Whether you're hauling gear to the rink or heading to an away game, you'll tackle it with ease. And when it's time to load up, the available power liftgate makes loading your gear in and out a cinch. Experience power, capability, and convenience with the Toyota Tacoma. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer during Red Tag Days from March through May. Lots of places to start off. I do want to get to the Cup Final with you, Mike.
Yep.
But when it comes to Jet content, there were a number of Jets and former Jets playing in the World Championships. And, I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't watch a lot of the tournament, but I don't know very many people that had a moneyline ticket on the Norwegians to beat us in the bronze medal game. And then, of course, who could have missed the smiling face of Ville Heinola? We hadn't seen a lot of those smiles around Winnipeg, and he ends up getting a gold medal. So we talked about it before. Happy for Ville. Be very interesting to see what happens with his next step in his hockey career. But, man, disappointing for everyone, but particularly Scheifele, DeMello, Gabe Vilardi, who I'm sure had hoped to come back to Winnipeg next season with some medal from the Worlds.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was it Ryan O'Reilly kind of said, what a waste to come all the way over here and not win a medal. And boy, did that ever turn in a hurry, Huss, because like Canada looked dominant during the round robin portion. And then they beat the Americans in the quarterfinal, and you figure, okay, they're well on their way. And then 2 straight losses in the semi, and then obviously the bronze medal game, where I imagine some hangover from that semifinal loss was still lingering. But yeah, that must suck. I mean, I would think Mark Scheifele probably had a great time. I mean, I'm sure all 3 of those Jets did. The experience, it's a beautiful part of the world. I mean, Scheifele and Vilardi were playing with the likes of Macklin Celebrini, and those guys they had really good tournaments. But yeah, to not get a souvenir out of it, I would not have. If you were asking me to handicap before this began, sort of which Jets would get which medals, I don't know that I would have had Ville Heinola as the gold medalist, Nino Niederreiter as the silver medalist, and Scheifele, Vilardi, DeMello as the no medalist. That was certainly an unfortunate end to the tournament for them. But I got to think, when we do talk to the likes of Scheifele, probably closer to training camp, I'm sure he'll have some time to process it. And it probably was a really cool experience, especially for a guy like Mark Scheifele, who was overlooked for the Four Nations, was overlooked for the Olympics. And, Huss, I saw, I didn't watch a ton of it either, but I saw some commentary from people saying that Mark Scheifele was maybe the player that impressed them the most at the Worlds. Like, these are non-Jets fans, just people who are watching. And I saw a few different comments like that, along with and why didn't they take this guy? So, I'm sure it was a great experience for them. They got to play hockey right through the end of May. What was it? Matthew Tkachuk had the greatest quote, Huss. He said, "I hope I'm never playing in this tournament again." And he didn't mean it as a diss on the tournament. He meant it to say, "I hope I'm always in the Stanley Cup playoffs and unavailable." And, deep down, I got to think the likes of Scheifele would feel the same way. But this is a nice consolation prize. Although, like I said, you'd like to finish it with a medal.
I'm a bit of a quirky stat geek when it comes to some of these tournaments. I saw this last night, and they were running this. I guess it was on TSN. You know that the Swiss have been to the last 3 gold medal games. They've lost the last 2, 1-0 in overtime. The previous game, they lost 2-0.
Wow.
The Swiss goalie, and his name escapes me right now, that has been in net for all 3 games, has like a .974 save percentage.
Is this the same guy that was at the Olympics for them?
I think so.
Yeah, and I was there at the Olympics, and I remember talking to people about that goalie, and a bunch of Swiss players were saying this guy could have had a terrific NHL career. He did not, like, he's an older goalie, right? He's played his whole career over there, and for whatever reason, he decided he didn't really care much about pursuing the NHL dream. And yeah, he's been phenomenal for them. Obviously, goal scoring when it's all on the line has been a bit of an issue, but it does, when we talk about hockey powers and, you talk about the likes of Canada, the US, Finland, Sweden, I think those would be the big 4, right? That was the 4 nations. Switzerland is certainly making a case that the big 4, at the very least, ought to be expanded to the big 5. I think Czechia would also make a case. Obviously, now there was some news last week about Russia and the door being open potentially for their return. Like, this is going to get really interesting, Huss, especially with the World Cup of Hockey in 28, with the Olympics again in 2030. Like, what's that all going to look like? And, the old saying, best on best, like, it's pretty clear that the definition of best is expanding in a big way.
The Swiss absolutely deserve a seat at the table for any best on best tournament, and that wasn't always the case before.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been to the championship game 3 straight years. Now, they haven't scored a goal now in over 9 periods of it, but yeah, and it's Leonardo Giannoni was the netminder last night. But man, I mean, a tough run. I mean, they had this great tournament. They're playing at home.
Backyard,
it just seemed to be right there, and they couldn't get it done. But another silver medal for Nino Niederreiter. And the Swiss, and, I said this to the guys earlier today, and I put this out for the Why Not question of the day, but I'll hit you with it. What do you think the chances are that Ville Heinola is an NHLer next year? And when I say that, like, on a team playing, like getting 50, 60 games next year. Like, do you think it's likely that he comes back, gets a chance somewhere and sticks? Or, at this point in his career, after going through waivers last year, does he look at what will probably be one of a number of pretty attractive offers overseas to play in Europe?
Yeah, it's a great question, Huss. And I would have said maybe before this tournament began, like, I would have put the odds of him being in the NHL probably in the single digits, to be honest. I figured Europe was very likely the path he'd have to take. But this tournament, and he had a really good tournament on obviously a really good team. They won the gold medal. I feel like this has maybe helped his stock a little bit. And I now wouldn't be surprised if there is some, added interest that maybe wasn't going to be there from NHL teams. And, one team, Huss, that really, really, really intrigues me when it comes to Ville Heinola for a couple reasons is the Florida Panthers. Florida is they are a defenseman rehabilitation facility. Look at what they've done with Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Nate Schmidt. There's been a bunch of guys, Jeff Petrie. They seem to, like, that is their DNA. They find defensemen whose stock has fallen, and whether it's, the coaching that they have on Paul Maurice's staff there that works with these guys, whatever the reason is, that they seem to find a way to bring out, what many view as lost potential, or, a part of a player that no longer existed. So, and we go back to Ville Heinola's debut here in Winnipeg, remember how much Paul Maurice was in love with the player as an 18-year-old. He, the quotes at the time when they eventually sent him back to Europe, like Paul Maurice, I remember, was saying he was ready to fight Kevin Chevalier off to keep him here. And, because he had a really nice debut as an 18-year-old. They decided that both, the physicality, they wanted him to grow into his body a bit more. They actually sent him down to the Moose briefly, which they could do. Too many guys were taking runs at him. They were worried that he was going to get hurt. So he goes back to Europe. And honestly, that was the peak of his Jets career in year one. But Paul Maurice obviously saw this player as an 18-year-old. And I wonder, given, Florida always has cap issues, right? Because, they sign all their big ticket guys. They sign free agents. They need some guys like at basically entry level type contracts that they can hit on. And to me, like Ville Heinola would make lots of sense. And you wonder if Paul Maurice isn't in the ear of his GM saying, give me this player. I think there's still an NHL player here. So,
well, who's got a lot of stroke in that organization? Alexander Barkov, who didn't play at all this year and was well enough to come back and captain Finland to that world championship.
Agreed.
And, I mean, you wonder about, what scouts are walking, what GMs are walking. Like, is there a guy that's got more impact in that room? And you think about Florida. Like, I'm just going to pull this up right now. I mean, they have had a ton of Finns on their team in the past. I mean, just going down this list, you got Alexander Barkov. I believe Lundell is a Finn, if I'm not mistaken. Luosterainen is there. And then Mikkola on the blue line. So they've got a bunch of Finns there. They were certainly paying close attention to how their guys were doing at this event. That I hadn't thought about that before, Mike, but you know what? There is something to that. And as I said, I think that if anything, he gets whatever offers he gets, he measures the possibility of actually playing and being a regular, because he does not want to go through what he went through before here.
No.
And if that's not the case, I have no doubt that the top leagues in Europe will be putting pretty nice packages down for him, and we'll see where he goes. But been a rough few years for him. I think, listen, I'm not part of the people of the revisionist history. They're like, oh my God, he just won a gold medal. What were the Jets doing this whole time?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, he had some really bad luck. Didn't handle some of that adversity probably as well as he could have at particular times over the course of the career. And not everything works out, but certainly do hope the best for him, because there is a lot of talent there. And, I'm still not sure that he can be an everyday regular in the National Hockey League. I think he can play as a regular on a bad team.
Yeah.
And, was he as good as some of the other guys that were playing in other spots in the NHL? Yeah, probably. But again, those teams all had the chance to get him and put him in the lineup, and every single team passed. So
they did.
Anyways.
And there's not much of a body of NHL work now from the last couple seasons to really draw upon. Like, you don't really know what you're getting. So, yeah, it's, any contract in the NHL would be on the very low side of things. Speaking of another Finn, I just saw Patrick Laine today revealed, this isn't surprising at all, that he wasn't injured, that he's been healthy for a long time, and that the Habs just kept him on the injured list. And, he certainly is resigned that his time in Montreal is over, and there'll be a lot of focus on where he ends up. I know you and I have talked a little bit about the potential Winnipeg reunion. I think it makes a lot of sense.
It's funny, Mike, when you wrote that, I had just been thinking about that, and Ken was on, and I just sort of brought the thing up.
Great minds.
And he's like, you know what? Actually, I think Mike's going to have this up. Now, I mean, and I got to tell you, I have had this conversation, at bar tops and fishing and, just out with friends and buddies. I can't remember more polarizing takes and conversations than this one. Like, I have some people that, you say this is the biggest no-brainer of all time. If you could make it happen and it's somewhat low risk, you bring the guy in, you see whether he can get back. Like, there's a lot riding on Patrick Laine's next spot because he could be in the Ville Heinola situation if it doesn't, if it doesn't end up going well. So he has to come into a situation and reestablish himself as an NHL regular. You would think that the cost would be relatively low. The ceiling, the potential, and we've seen it here more than anybody else in the league, is there. And then there's others that recoil at the thought of having Laine come back. And I mean, maybe it's because of the precocious talent that we saw early on, and there were some parts of the game that maybe rubbed some people the wrong way, but like, I think I kind of lean your way. Like, okay, this team took a huge step back last year on the power play. They're needing some motivated players that have the ability to play top six. And I know it's been a terrible few years for Laine, but I still put him in that category. That, to me, the risk, the potential reward would far outsee the risk. But there are a lot of other people that are steadfast, hard, all caps, nose on this.
Yeah.
And I find it really interesting because, if anything, I think people would be leaning to the other side going, we saw this guy score 80 goals as a teenager. Like, bring him back and let's get him back on track.
Yeah, and the off ice, the PR of it, the fact that he's still a big fan favorite, I'd say among the majority of fans. You still see Laine jerseys all over the place. Like, there's that nostalgia. I think part of the recoiling from some, Huss, and there's some fans in this market, rightfully so, that after what happened last year, where basically, except for Cole Koepke, like the UFA signings, they just made the Jets older and slower. And, I've already seen people saying, we don't need another old, slow player. I'll grant you that Patrick Laine is not a speed demon. Old? He's not old. I mean, he's right in line. Like, he's 28? This is not an old player. And in fact, he's barely got any miles on the odometer from the last couple seasons. He's barely played. So I'll grant you that he's not going to make the Jets faster. You know what is fast, though? His one-timer from the top of the dot. And this is a Jets team that had one of the worst power plays in the league last year. They had almost no secondary scoring. To me, if you can get him on, and again, I stress the performance bonuses in a contract should be tied to performance, not games played. So not the Jonathan Taze model, but you produce, you'll get paid. And then that's a win-win. You'd gladly pay the money then if the player is earning it. And if not, okay, you cut him loose, you say you tried, no harm, no foul. So, I think there's going to be some suitors this summer. I have to think there'll be more than, wouldn't just be the Jets that would be sniffing around Patrick Laine, that there's some teams that still feel like, what he has in his toolkit is something that they could use. So that'll be something to watch. And, look at this, Huss. Here we are today. We flip the calendar. It's June 1st. We only have to wait one more month. It's fast approaching. This is going to be a very exciting kind of next 4 or 5 weeks around here. I know it's been a little slow, and that's the way the NHL is when the playoffs are still going on. But business is going to soon start picking up for the Jets, for the league as a whole. Trades, the draft, free agency. We should have plenty to talk about in the coming weeks, I suspect.
I think Pagnotta's going to jump on with us tomorrow, so we'll dive into more about his reporting. But I did see something on the weekend, I believe from Dave, saying that the Jets, were looking at the value of the 8th overall pick and what that might be able to get back in, a potential deal. I'll be honest, just with where the team is and the age of the players that are sort of the key core, I'm not really in favor of that. I think this pick needs to be made, needs to be nailed, and this player that they select in the top 10 will hopefully become a very key centerpiece, a foundational piece of this Jets team moving on at some point from the guys that have been the backbone of it for so long.
Yeah.
But what do you make of the likelihood and the pros and cons of actually doing that, and the risks involved at trading a top 10 pick that, based on their performance, doesn't come around very often?
No, and the more I read about this draft and these players and see how much disparity there is on, various mock drafts about like who's going to go in the top 7 and who would still be there at 8. What that tells me is this, Huss, that there are a lot of really, really, really intriguing players on the front end of this draft. And one or more of them are still going to be around when the Jets pick at 8. And to me, this team needs to, they need to hit a home run here with this draft. And I think all the potential that is there to hit a home run with this draft. And yeah, I mean, I think you have to pick the player. That player would instantly become probably your top prospect. Whether they can jump into the lineup this coming season, or have to wait a year, to me, that shouldn't matter. If you want to improve your team, like right now, trading, a prize young prospect, what you're going to get in that 8 spot, to me, that's not necessarily the way to do it. I guess unless some team absolutely blows you away, you can't believe what they're offering you for their 8th pick. And I just don't see that happening. To me, you make the pick, you get a great prospect, and then you find some other ways to make your team better, whether that's via trade. We talked about the potential for like a buyout of a Nino Niederreiter. Not that the salary cap space is necessarily going to be a concern for the Jets, but you want to maybe create some positions, see what's out there on the trade market. I mean, what second line center are you getting for the 8th overall pick that's going to help you and jump right into that? Like, I wouldn't trade the 8th overall pick for Mason McTavish. Would you? I like Mason McTavish, the player. This is a guy that was a healthy scratch at times for the Ducks down the stretch. I think if the price was right, he's a player I think would make some sense for the Jets to take a look at. But I'm not giving up an 18-year-old prospect that might turn into an absolute stud that would blow away a Mason McTavish in a couple of years from now. And that's the risk. But I get why there's talk about it, because again, Huss, it comes back to sort of the same old issue for the Jets. They have an aging veteran core. And if they're not going to move any pieces of that core, the pressure is on to do things now, not worry so much about a year or 2 or 3 down the road. But that's a bit of a risky game, right? And I haven't seen anything to suggest that there's going to be a philosophical shift for the Jets, that they're moving any of those core guys. I mean, of course, the Hellebuck situation has led to some discussion and whatnot, but yeah, you're trying to almost serve 2 masters, right? You're trying to help the guys you have here right now and not piss them off too much. It's clear some of them are already pretty PO'd, like a Hellebuck, but you're also now, you can't mortgage the future. So it's a tough position for Kevin Cheveldayoff to be in, and we'll continue to sort of debate about which path they might choose here. I'm sure.
Yeah, listen, I'm with you, man. I think they see what they can do. I have a feeling that this team isn't going to look a ton different heading into next year. And then it's going to be all about the first 25 games. And if this team can have a good start and they're in a playoff spot and they're moving forward, then they keep going. If this team gets off to a brutal start and is 7-8 points out of a playoff spot, listen, it's a very different situation for Arnie coming into this year after what happened last year. I mean, he's presumably getting another opportunity, but I don't think that, at a certain point, if the season is going down the tubes, that's on the table. But also, at that point, you almost get forced into, okay, what is out there, what trades are possible based on the no trade protection you've given the players that you've signed. But it never seems to be as hard to get players out of Winnipeg on that as it is getting players that don't have Winnipeg coming to it, which inevitably means younger players usually coming back in deals. So I'm not sure whether the really interesting stuff is going to happen over the next couple months or whether we have to wait until the regular season to see how all things play out. But it's impossible not to look at the season that they just had, what we heard from players at the end of the year, knowing how difficult it will be for Cheveldayoff to pull off some of the things that they would like to do in the offseason without moving any of those players.
Right.
And then it's a matter of, okay, what do we have here? Is this team capable of competing again? Because if not, then you go potentially in a very, very different direction, Mike. And, as they say, we haven't had, I think, this team at a crossroads like this. I would argue maybe back to the way they sort of reset everything after the sweep to Anaheim. And what was it, 2015?
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, they didn't have the veteran core pieces necessarily that they do now then. And so it would be dramatic, no question about it. I keep going back to, I don't know if you saw it. It was a few weeks ago, Huss, that Mark Chipman sent a message out to season ticket holders. I don't know if you guys ended up mentioning it on the show. I have a copy of it here in front of me, but it was basically his year-end message to the organization, or to the fans in the organization. And a couple of things stood out. He flat out said, this past year, quote, did not meet the expectations we set for ourselves, nor those that you rightfully hold for our team. And he said improvement is required. That work is already underway. Our hockey operations team has already begun the process of resetting and preparing for next season. I could not ask for a more invested and caring group of professionals. Their commitment to thoughtful roster construction, player development, and long-term planning remains steadfast. We are confident in the foundation that is in place and in the decisions that will be made to move our team forward. I know a lot of people eyes glaze over. It's just talk. They're just words. People want to see actions, not words. But I did find the message, admitting that we fell short. That was maybe some of the things people were hoping Kevin Cheveldayoff might have said in his year-end presser that they didn't really hear. The owner kind of came out and said it in his message. But to me, the most interesting part was talking about ways forward. And, to me, I know there's some people that feel the Jets are just happy to be part of this league. Mark Chipman is a fiercely competitive individual. He wants nothing more than to win a Stanley Cup. And I think what happened this past year has probably lit an even bigger fire. So it will be interesting to see, whether it's in the next few weeks, next few months, how the Jets go about bringing those words on the page in that email to season ticket holders, how they turn those words into action. And that'll be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, no doubt. I did actually bump into Chevy on the weekend, and he was in good spirits. I got to tell you, he looks amazing.
Yeah.
Like, he must have lost. He was on the Mike McIntyre plan, I think.
Yeah, he is looking good. And I'm sure he wants to make sure his team is looking good come the fall as well. So he's got some work. Yeah, he was. I think he was at the Highlander the beer festival that you ran into him on?
Yeah, at Flatland. I go, Chevy, you look ripped. And he goes, ripped. Okay, come on here. I said, no, you look really good. He's in the high spirits. Obviously, I asked him, who are we picking and who are we trading for and all that. I didn't get maybe I needed to get him a little later on in the Flatlanders Beer Festival.
A little later into the beer festival.
It was too early to make that happen. Hey, listen, just before we go, Thoughts on the Cup Final? You got a pick for us?
I do.
Listen, obviously not being here last week, it's been really neat to see Ehlers sort of spread his wings. Not that he didn't for Winnipeg, but Nikolai Ehlers killed the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah.
I mean, his performance in Game 3, taking that one out of a potential loss, getting it to OT, and then winning it, arguably the best moment of his career. I think I called it the triple overtime earlier. I think Phyllis mentioned he was the double OT winner against Edmonton. Kyle Connor was the triple OT. But playing really well in this Canes team. I was stunned. I looked at Coolbet as soon as it was set, and they had the Canes at -159 favorites, Vegas at +130. That's come a little closer since, but Carolina is still the favorite right now. You think Nick gets a ring in his first year out of Winnipeg, or are the bad guys in Sin City going to be running it back?
Well, I think Carolina is going to face its stiffest challenge of the 4 rounds, because they've made it look frankly pretty easy, just the one loss. And even look at that one loss in Game 1, Huss, they kind of dominated that game. They just had to work off the rust because they hadn't played in almost 2 weeks. The beauty about this matchup is both teams are kind of going to be rested. So it should be even in the sense that their energy levels is fairly similar. To me, Carolina is the better, deeper team for sure. Goaltending will be interesting because there were times, to me, Huss, Freddie Anderson. I know Montreal. What did they have? 89 total shots in 5 games that included a couple of overtimes. Like, they barely tested the guy. He didn't exactly look calm, cool, and collected at times. Like, I think Freddie Anderson at this stage of his career can be a bit leaky. And Vegas has some obviously elite finishers, Eichel, Dorofeev, Stone, Marner. So, the game should be interesting, but I see 2 teams that they have the ability to impose their will on each other and really, look at the way Vegas locked down Colorado. Look at the way Carolina suffocated Montreal. I hope it doesn't lead to boring hockey, where both teams are now suffocating each other and just a whole lot of nothing is happening. I'd like to see some animosity, a little snarl between these teams, and I think we could get there. This also might be, Huss, the most Manitoba final in quite some time. 5 Manitobans, obviously Stone, Kolesar, Howden on the Vegas side. You got Seth Jarvis and Jordan Martinook on the Carolina side. You got Ehlers, Dylan Coghlan, so 2 ex-Jets. Lots of interesting storylines. To me, Carolina takes it, I'll say, in 6 games.
I'm fired up to get going. We had media day today, and we only have to wait until tomorrow night. We can get right to it, and it'll finish a little earlier this year, which I think everyone will be just fine with. And we got the World Cup next week. We got Bomber season starting this week, and we can actually get into summer and, of course, all the off-season topics once business resumes around the NHL. Mike, great chat as always. You have yourself a great week. Enjoy the weather and hit them straight.
Yeah, 10-game Goldeyes homestand starts tonight as well. I'm going to be there tonight and covering a bunch of Goldeyes over the next couple of weeks too. So lots going on. Great stuff. Talk to you later.
Right on, Mike. There is Mike McIntyre. Yes, we do have Monday Night Baseball tonight. The Fish are back, taking on Sioux Falls, and it's a busy week. If you haven't been out to the ballpark, this is a great week. The weather's looking nice. We got a 6:30 start tonight against Sioux Falls. Tomorrow, $2 Tuesdays and baseball bingo for the 6:30 start on Tuesday. Early kids game on Wednesday. School day game 2. That's 11 a.m. on Wednesday. If you're working downtown, ditch work a little early. Take in and eat at the ballpark for lunch. Sioux Falls here as well. So this is a 4-gamer on Thursday. And then a big weekend coming up. Friday, it's a 7 o'clock game. Goldie's birthday. Fireworks after the game. And then Saturday and Sunday, 6 p.m. Saturday, 1 p.m. on Sunday. And Sunday is a family fun day. Go to goldeyes.com to get your tickets. And don't forget, I think tomorrow we'll have your ability to get your seats for our WST night, June 30th, going into Canada Day. We're going to have a lot of fun that night. Make sure to join us, and we'll have that set up tomorrow for people to get their tickets. Got to shout out our friends at Royal Sports. They just mentioned the World Cup is here. I'm already in Canada soccer mode. We got the team announced on Friday. Folks, get ready. Get ready for the biggest event on the planet this summer at Royal Sports, the biggest selection of Canada merch you will find anywhere, as well as many of the other teams from around the globe participating for the World Cup trophy. We got Canada and Bosnia-Herzegovina next Friday at 2 p.m. the 12th. Right now is the time to get down to Royal. And while you're at it, check out soccer, softball, baseball, tennis, tons of bikes. Royal Sports is ready for summer. 750 Pembina Highway. And I hope you took advantage of some of those great deals on the weekend at a steamy Royal Sports tent sale. We're also going to be hitting the road. I'm looking forward to getting down to doing our show at the Visitor Information Center at Travel Manitoba next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you're looking ahead to the rest of summer right now and planning your next adventure, start with Travel Manitoba. Whether you're searching for road trip inspiration, hidden gems, or the latest festivals and events, everything you need is waiting for you at travelmanitoba.com. If you want some ideas on the go, make sure to follow along on social media at Travel Manitoba for real-time inspiration, local tips, and can't-miss experiences from across the province. Or if you prefer a personal touch, stop by the Visitor Information Center at the Forks in Winnipeg. And tell you what, one thing I did miss last week was the picks against Michael Remis for Assiniboia Downs. But our friends at AS Downs are back this week with more live racing. Tuesday and Wednesday, all summer long, is when you'll get live racing, along with some Mondays over the course of the year. And one of those Mondays is today, Reem. So I was figuring we were back at it tomorrow. We're going to have to bang out some picks here at the end of the program as well for tonight, and looking forward to our winners joining us on Wednesday when we are out at the track. For more information on live racing, dining room reservations, and more, go to asdowns.com. So, Remo, we have this might be a bit of a longer show. We got to do a wheel of winners for the MVP platter from Boston Pizza, and we're going to get into some picks as well. So we'll do that. But let's bring in Connor Rabchak and Michael Remis. Connor, what's going on? How are you? Thanks again for jumping on. Bang up job last week in my absence. Heard lots of good things. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Huss. I'm doing well. I hope you had a great time at Aikens. The photos and the videos looked incredible. So glad you had a great time. Always happy to pinch hit and give you some well-deserved time off. And then this morning, WST Bombers Report was an absolute blast with Schnitzy. Our first episode of the season had Sunday live, Sunday morning, of course. And I'm pumped for CFL football, Bomber football to be back this week. Got a West Division showdown on a Friday night at 8 o'clock to kick off the season. I'm pretty fired up for it. And of course, CFL 110 tomorrow. Looking forward to that with you as well, Huss.
Yeah. Now let's get Reem in here. And by the way, Reem, I'm getting just a little bit of echo from Connor. Not sure what that's up. It's not bad, but it is there. I wanted, like, I was originally saying, let's just do the three of us right off the bat. But I did not want the first half hour of this program, coming out of a big weekend with lots to talk about, to end up with us just killing the CFL and their fantasy site. But man, we were all fired up for the draft last night. The three of us, Liz, Hammer, Schnitzy, everyone's online, and I don't know what to say other than that was the most painful live fantasy draft experience I've ever had. And it's just
Agreed.
so disappointing because I think the potential for this is great. If they can actually nail it, it will only be positive for the league going forward. But man, was that a struggle. And as far as I look, we still have 4 rounds left, and you picked the same guy twice in a row on 2 separate occasions.
Yeah, it was an absolute nightmare. You nailed that. That was the worst like live draft experience I think I've ever had as well. You couldn't switch from looking at quarterbacks to running backs without it taking 5 minutes. You couldn't sort anything in the draft queue without it taking 5 minutes. You couldn't make a pick without it taking anywhere from a minute, and it just like randomly works great, to it taking 20 minutes and just freezing completely. And then, yeah, I showed it on this morning's Bombers report. Our draft is going on, and there's the Keandre Smith at the 2-3 turn. It gave me him twice. And then at the 4-5 turn, it gave me Tyler Snead twice. I drafted Davis Alexander and Keandre Smith at the 2-3 turn. And then the 4-5 turn took Tim White and Tyler Snead. But it just didn't even register that Tim White and Davis Alexander are on my team. There are just so many bugs. And then the worst part is I go on CFL Fantasy this morning. I open up our draft queue, and I'm snapping around, sorting by whatever, looking at this, looking at that. There's no delays whatsoever. So I don't know if the server was just completely overloaded last night or what happened. But I go on it this morning, and it's working perfectly fine. And I'm like, what was going on here? So yeah, that was extremely painful. Extremely painful.
Well, you know what? It is good to know that at least it did work for some people at some lower times. But, and Reem, I mean, I'm sure you'll agree with me on this. If you're setting this up, you have to know that probably 90% of your drafts are going to be happening in the evening in the 3 days or so after cuts leading into week 1 of the season. Like that cannot be a surprise to anyone. And to have the site just basically not able to do it was just a real big missed opportunity. And as Benny Amen, our pal, said yesterday, this was and would have been for so many people a first impression when it comes to it. And I mean, I don't know. As I said, I sadly, I'm not surprised at all because of everything it seems like this Genius Sports has touched over the last number of years has gone to shit. And and I didn't even know if this was a Genius thing or not, but I'll tell you what.
I don't think it is.
It sure looked like
it.
Yeah, it felt like it. I mean, this was the stats for the last 3 years. This was everything. When you need it at crunch time, just not there. And man, that was disappointing, Reem.
You know, we've been playing CFL Fantasy. I've been playing for CFL Fantasy on DraftKings for 10 years, and that's just weekly. You set your lineup every week. It's fun. You get a different team. I've never done a traditional draft for CFL because there hasn't been a platform. We've been trying to do like a pick'em site. That's not out there, and thankfully CoolBet stepped up this year and built one on their site. But we're at the front page of CFL.ca, Hustler, and they're promoting fantasy right now. They're promoting it on the broadcast. And yes, if you're running a fantasy platform, and it looks like they're partnered with The Score, you got to know Sunday night is the night before game 1 of the season that everyone is going to be drafting. And for us to log in and have it not usable, it seemed the way it was written, like it had to reload all the players every time. Like you click, like you just try to bring up a different position and it takes too long to load. You can't add guys to the queue. When the timer would run out, it wouldn't automatically select the top of your queue or the top of the list. Like, had the person who designed this ever played fantasy? Had they ever like tested this? I don't understand. And Connor and I were talking last Monday. How have they not unveiled this platform? You know, we don't really trust the CFL with digital. If you recall, the CFL draft last year website crashed. That's 2025. And then it crashed again in 2026. And in November of 2025, Stuart Johnson said, on my 3rd day on the job during the CFL draft, our website went down. If we want to be considered a major professional sports league, this cannot happen. How do they have the draft on their site for CFL Fantasy? A great way to engage, existing fans, grow potential fans. I become a fan of the entire league from playing fantasy, getting to know all of the players, and to deliver that ass experience from yesterday that was not usable. They couldn't have gone. They couldn't have. They had to develop, their own thing in house. They couldn't have outsourced this to someone, or they did to the score. I don't know how they did it, but it didn't work. Again, I don't. It's just so disappointing. Such a big opportunity. This website, it doesn't work. So.
So I don't know what we're gonna do. What's the commissioner? What's the status of our league that still has
we're
4 rounds?
in limbo.
You've got two the same guy twice.
So I'm assuming that when this draft wraps up, I will have the players that I actually selected, because it happened to Liz in the first round too. She took Kenny Lawler, but then Kenny Lawler just disappeared from her team and disappeared from the draft pool entirely. And then it auto-selected her Drew Brown in the first round. But so Kenny Lawler is somewhere right now. It's not on Liz's team, but he's somewhere, right? Same with Davis Alexander and Tim White, who I drafted, but they're not on my team right now, but they're also not in the draft pool. They're out floating in space. They just don't exist right now. So I'm assuming when this draft ends, maybe the coding behind the draft board that we're seeing technically does have, Davis Alexander and Tim White on my team and Kenny Lawler on Liz's team and all of this stuff. But I don't have faith in this website to get it right. I'll tell you that. And we still have 4 rounds to go. We gave up at 2.5 hours last night of just excruciatingly slow drafting that we paused.
What would have happened if we just auto draft the rest and then
we turned on auto draft, and then the website automatically turns off auto draft every 5 seconds. And then even when it goes down to 0 seconds to auto draft, it took 5 minutes to auto select someone who wasn't even in your queue anyways. So the auto draft feature didn't work. So we tried that for a round, but didn't work. Very frustrating commissioner experience, I will tell you that.
My first pick, it was so funny. I'm like, okay, do I go for a receiver? I didn't know what was going on because I'd just seen Drew Brown get picked, and I thought that was a little weird. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take Rankin from Edmonton. And I went and made the pick, and then Butler is given to me.
Yeah.
And
you didn't pick Butler?
No, I was saying, I guess I didn't go in the video chat with you guys. I should have. I kind of forgot about that. And I was just texting. But yeah, no, I wanted Justin Rankin, and then once I had my running back, I'm like, I can't take another running back right now. I better make something happen on QB. So it was just an absolute comedy of errors. So I had hoped that this would be something that we would have fun, we would play, we'd be able to talk about it all year. It'd be fun for content. As Remis mentioned, it's great for knowing what is happening around the league. But as of right now.
And I hope we can finish this draft because I'm pumped for it. I'm so stoked for CFL Fantasy, but it just isn't working.
Yeah.
Unusable right now.
And even if they just auto draft it and then we have to go in. And,
yes.
At the end of the day, if we get screwed with a few picks, I definitely think that Hammer was the benefit. Did you try to take Brady Oliveira first?
Yes.
That was on purpose?
We had Ben Kramer on our show last week. He's talking about his CFL rankings, and he had Oliveira 1 over Rourke. The site had Rourke as the unanimous 101. But I was like, you know what? Ben Kramer was on our show, shared the insight, and Brady's my guy. He's all of our guys. He's the Winnipeg guy. I'm gonna take him 101.
Did you guys like my reach and grab Sergio?
I did.
That surge.
Well, I mean, it's 5 points for a 50-yarder.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sergio
Castillo.
He's gonna get trotted out there for field goals. Yeah,
absolutely. I was hoping there'd be an extra point for 60-yarders. But we'll take that. So anyways, we'll give you an update, everyone, on that at some point soon. But this is a perfect time to remind everyone to get in on the Cool Bet contest that we've teamed up with them for. This is a weekly CFL pick'em where You pick the scores for each team, and basically, if you go to Coolbet, log in, and then go down to the bottom of the main page, and you'll see where it says sports. And underneath sports, it says all sports, live bet, Coolbet League. You want to click on Coolbet League. And then there you go, right there. So $50 a week for whoever has the most points. And then amazing VIP Grey Cup experience weekend in Calgary for the winner. If you predict the winner right, you're going to get 5 points. If you get the correct number of points for a team, you'll get 10. If you get the right winner and correct score for one team, you'll get 15 points. And if somehow you nail it exactly, it's 20 points. And like I told you earlier this week, again, you just have to just log. If you don't have a Coolbet account, just go and start one. This is completely free, but they just need your details and all that, so you're registered. And then set yourself. I already did this. A weekly reminder on Wednesdays to put your picks in, because the one thing that'll screw you is just missing a couple weeks of picks. And then, I mean, I guess you could go in and nail a couple exactly, but those are tough. It's consistency that's going to win this one. So you make sure you get your picks in. You should be good. There's Remis just doing a little example. He's got the Bombers beating Calgary 100-1. I like that.
Good choice.
And then submit them. We'll have a weekly leaderboard. We'll let you know who the winners are week by week for the $50 prize pool. And it should be a lot of fun as we get down into the final month of the season to follow the leaderboard. So again, this is completely free. It is at coolbet.com. Go down bottom left corner under sports. It's Coolbet League. They've also got a really cool match predictor with some great prizes for the World Cup. So I would suggest you get in on that too. But for you CFL fans, make sure to get in on the Coolbet prize, the prize and the Grey Cup trip possibility. And 21 weeks, the first kickoff. You've got 3 days, 3 hours, and 24 minutes to make that happen. You know what? While we're talking about Coolbet, let me just quickly get to a little bit slower tonight. We do have Canada and Uzbekistan playing in the rain in Edmonton in a World Cup friendly. Did lock shop today with Matt Iwanek. We've got some. So here are the picks. This is what I'm on so far for tonight. Under 2.5 goals for the total, -128. We're going to go with that. And then this is a huge game for the goalies for Canada. Like the team was, announced on Friday, but Crépeau and St. Clair are both getting a half. And Jesse Marsh just came out and said, both these guys are playing. We don't really know if there is a number one goalie. So this game will be huge for both of these guys to show what they can do. Canada to win to 0. Or an easier one is probably just going to the totals and taking Uzbekistan under 0.5. That's at +110. So those are the two picks. You can, I believe, get a Canada to win to 0 bet as well, which is Canada to win and obviously not allowing a goal. But I got the under 2.5 and under half a goal for Uzbekistan. If you do want to take a draw at +285, might be worthwhile it, just because, as I say, I don't think this is much about a win as getting out healthy. But Canada's -159 for that win and -128 on the under 2.5. Connor, have you made a bold prediction for the Stanley Cup Final yet?
I have not. So I meant to say my Stanley Cup prediction on Sunday Live, but it completely escaped me. I got carried away in Jets conversation on burning questions. But I'm going to take the Carolina Hurricanes in 7 games. I like Carolina. I really do think this series could go either way, though. And like Vegas, there's a real argument to be made that they have the top 3 players in the series in Eichel, Marner, and Stone. but Carolina's deeper. I think I like their defense core a little bit more, Carolina's. So maybe the top end talent I could see winning out for Vegas. But when it comes to Carolina, they've just been such a wagon. They're rolling their top three lines. They're all playing well. And I mean, they held Montreal to like 15 shots a night. I don't think they'll be able to smother Vegas like that, but I do think their defense will win them this series. And Freddie Anderson has been solid as well. So I'm going to take the Carolina Hurricanes in a late series or a long series, 7 games.
Series price right now, Carolina -152, Vegas +125. So Vegas certainly the underdogs in this one. Tomorrow night's game 1 has Vegas at +124 and Carolina -146. We were at Flatlanders, but we were keeping an eye. Shout out to the AV staff who had game 7. Spurs, Thunder up on the big screens while we sampled all the offerings. Spurs get it done. I did have my guy Wemby on Saturday. I was pumped for that. So it's San Antonio and the Knicks. San Antonio -185. The Knicks +150, and the Spurs tomorrow 5-point home favorites against New York for the NBA championship. And you know what, Reem? We should maybe talk to our pal John Horn tomorrow, because it's been one of the craziest French Opens ever. So many upsets. Our guy Felix, though, made it through. He's in the quarters right now. He's in basically a pick'em with a Colby. So we'll find out about that and the option and the opportunity potentially for our guy Felix to maybe get to a final and win his first Grand Slam championship. But right now you got the Cup Final, the NBA Finals, Felix and the tennis, World Cup props, and the Memorial big tournament on the PGA Tour, which we will get to coming up as well. Connor, looking forward to getting you in for a little CFL talk tomorrow morning on CFL 110.
Yes, I'm pumped for the Bombers season, but really the CFL season as a whole. So really looking forward to jumping on tomorrow. If people didn't see it this morning, WST Bombers Report with Schnitzy and I, go check it out. It's on the YouTube channel under our live. We are live every Monday at 9 a.m. this year. So really looking forward to that. And quieter nights. I don't know, maybe catch a Gold Eyes game or something, support the local ball club. Quieter night in terms of the national sports with the Cup Final getting going tomorrow. But looking forward to Cup Final, NBA Final, CFL season. Going to be a good week.
Get locked and loaded, everyone. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. We won't have Hammer tomorrow. He will join us later on, though. But the three of us will fire it up, make some predictions, hit some win totals. By the way, CFL, Grey Cup odds, win totals, all of that up there, which you can bet on. But for free, make sure to enter into the Pick'em contest for the CFL season with your chance to win an incredible trip to the Grey Cup, courtesy of our friends at CoolBet. Connor, great stuff. Looking forward to firing it up with you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for 2026 CFL 110. Maybe the last year we can call it CFL 110. I'm not sure. We'll
CFL
cross that
100.
bridge when we come to it.
CFL 100 presented by DAZN. Yeah. Starting next season. No, kidding. It'll be our friends at CoolBet will be all over it. No, but looking forward to it, Huss. Let's do it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Reem, let's we've got a couple things to do still. We do need to get to our horse picks. But we're also going to have to do this giveaway. You're going to want to stay till the end of the program this week and next. Not that you wouldn't always. Because we've got an MVP platter from our friends at Boston Pizza to give away. We're going to do one every day right up until the World Cup. So what we're going to need you to do, and Remo, you can give what are we just going to do? Exclamation mark.
What am I doing? Platter?
Exclamation mark MVP.
Sure. I'll put it in 1 sec. I'll do that. And Connor did bring it up. We never got your hot take, Huss. The hot takes were flying last week with the new CFL deal announcing that Saturday 6 p.m. games exclusively on DAZN, is how you pronounce the streaming service.
DAZN?
That's spelled capital DAZN.
Okay,
So that's-
while you get this thing set up, and just folks, take a look in the chat. As soon as the Streamlabs bot gives you the go time, you can go and make this happen. So I get off the water. We've been fishing all day off the grid, and I get to my phone, and there's all this stuff about the new CFL TV deal. I'm interested, so I get the details. And first off, I mean, amazing for the league. This league needs investment. This league needs some financial wins, and this is absolutely one. I mean, I think they said that per team, this money's going to go from like 50 million to 84 or 85. That's significant, and that is going to make a difference, especially in the markets that really need it. So that's great. You know, as a consumer, I mean, you never like to have to change up what you were maybe already getting, but I mean, I totally understand it. From a marketing perspective, to be in with the zone is huge. I mean, so many football fans have that for NFL Sunday ticket. You go to it, CFL's right on the front page. It's getting going right away. I mean, there's a huge win in some of the people that this will be exposed to. So listen, all of that's good. You know, would I prefer not to have to get a DAZN subscription to watch those games? Yeah, but you know, it's 2026. I understand it. They got to make money. They have to be solvent, and I think it's going to be phenomenal for the teams, for the players. Hopefully, we can get rid of the stupid coaching cap, and you know, put some more money into the pockets of the players who are the product. So, you know, that's sort of my take on it. I get it. I understand it. Happy for the league that they were able to do it, and whatever. I mean, I want to watch these games, so I'll be ponying up like I would for Sunday ticket or one of the other packages that I would need. However, once I read this and I saw who the partner was, Reem, I immediately started laughing out loud, and I started thinking about you, because I do remember your feud with DAZN, which goes back, 4 or 5 years with the launch of the Sunday ticket. And you really did plant your flag in the ground that the hill to die on was that you wanted nothing to do in the future with DAZN. And now, in the irony of all ironies, there will be Winnipeg Blue Bomber games on DAZN.
Yeah, this goes back actually 9 years when they got the rights, exclusive
9?
rights.
Oh.
I know, I had to look it up. It's crazy. Feels like it just happened, but it was like 2017. They got the exclusive rights to NFL Sunday ticket. It came out, and the rollout was a disaster. It didn't work. It was inconsistent. The quality was bad. And eventually, they no longer had exclusive rights. People complained, and Sunday ticket is still available on cable. I have heard from people who use DAZN to stream NFL now, to stream soccer, whatever sports they have, that it works now. And I think 9 years ago, they were not ready. They were not prepared. Seemingly, they are ready. But as anything goes with the CFL and digital recently, whether it's stats, live actual CFL drafts, fantasy drafts, it hasn't gone well for them. So I'm hoping for their sake it does work. But I've actually had DAZN muted on X, so I didn't know about the deal. A lot of the tweets about it. So I kept getting their ads nonstop. I was so angry. And now, you know, they're a big part of the CFL. I do think it's good for marketing. Like, people do use it for, as I mentioned, NFL, soccer. They've got a ton of sports, but, you know, big fights. It seems to be a lot bigger than it was in 2017, but it left a really bad taste in my mouth at that time. And, you know, they threw a lot of money at the NFL, and the NFL went over for exclusive streaming rights, or, you know, rights at all for Sunday ticket, but that did not last. And thankfully, TSN still has Red Zone on their Plus, you know, and TSN shows every primetime NFL game, and we haven't had to deal with the fragmentation that the States has. But that's kind of, you know, David Pagnell, we're having him on tomorrow. He's got the report now out, and we'll see if this happens, that, in the NHL, you have prime Monday night hockey. Well, that's going to move to Wednesday, and now you're going to have Monday night Crave hockey on their streaming, and Sportsnet's going to have another national game on Thursday. We'll see what happens there, but some of that fragmentation that's coming into US, where you have Friday night Apple TV, Sunday Peacock for baseball. NFL's got Prime Thursday, whatever else. They had Netflix has games, so that's trickling its way over. I'll crack a beer on stream when we have the first ever Jets streaming only game on TSN Plus, and they make us fork out the extra dollars for that. I'll crack a 1919 on stream. So it's coming. Just get ready for it.
Love it. Folks, again, we're doing the MVP platter for Boston Pizza, your home for World Cup action beginning on June 11th. So if you're with us right now and you haven't already, just put in !MVP. We're going to spin the wheel in just a minute. Make sure you're here because you're going to need to send us your information so they can contact you and arrange for it. Hey, once again, I talked about it right off the top of the show, but a huge thanks to the people at Aikens Lake for just another wonderful, wonderful trip up there with the fellas. I got looking forward to the HSC charity trip we did for the gala with the auction winners at the beginning of September. But in the meantime, if you're looking for a world-class fishing experience with great times on the water and just incredible hospitality and good times off it as well, Aikens Lake is the spot. Check out aikenslake.com and at Aikens Lake on all the social channels for more information and availability on the rest of the season. Shout out to Russell Henley, who won in a playoff yesterday over Eric Cole on the PGA Tour. And, of course, our Breezy Bend golf reports on Mondays always hit what happened on the tour, but also did want to shout out the winners of the Manitoba Match Play Championships presented by Dr. Terry and the great people over at St. Vital Dental Center out at the Whispering Winds of Warren. Jerry LaFleche, David Kuik, Bruce North, and David Spur, match play champions for 2026 for Golf Manitoba, presented by our pals at St. Vital Dental Center. If you want more information on Breezy, go to breezybend.ca, 204-895-7205 for more information on memberships moving forward and making Breezy your long-term golfing home for you and your family. All right, you just mentioned cracking in 1919. Had a few of those and a delicious new kind of a peach beer. I think they were showing off at Flatlanders on the weekend. Let's do it, though. Big cheers to our friends at Winnipeg's favorite local brewery, Little Brown Jug, and then we'll get to some picks and see who's winning the BP MVP platter.
You train day in and day out, learning new techniques, approaching new concepts, and living out the thrill of achieving your goals. Building a craft beer is no different. While you spend your hours on the ice, we spend ours here, brewing our trademark beer. Again, and again. Here's to pushing the status quo and challenging ourselves to build something memorable. 1919 by Little Brown Jug.
All right. Good stuff. Maybe a LBJ tonight at the track, because the track ASD is live tonight. So we'll bang out a couple picks here right away. But Remo, do we want to do the why don't we do the oh yeah, there's Dr. Terry. Big congrats to the winners of this week's match play. Just hit that up. Great to see the support that Terry and the St. Vital Dental Center have gone to. They've done that match play for a number. What a cool event, too. They had the qualifying the week before, and then you got to grind. You got to take them out one by one before ending up as the last man or woman standing in the match play. So pretty good things about that Warren golf course as well. Nice home for it. All right, Reem, why don't we do the wheel of winners for the BP MVP platter?
Sure. Let me get that. So I'll close it and we can do it here.
Yeah, close it and you can do that up while I get a couple picks in. for these races tonight.
Sure. While I'm doing this, Hess, I should tell you, you missed the announcement last week. Assiniboia Downs announced Monday dollar nights where they have some great deals on specials. $1 chips, $1 canned drink, $2 lemonade, $2 small popcorn, $2 hot dog, $2 ice cream, $5 Bud or Bud Light. So you got $10 at the Downs. I mean, how are you spending this?
That is awesome.
And then listen to this.
That is great.
The Gold Eyes have a Tuesday deal. So this week you could hit the Downs Mondays. Check out this Gold Eyes Tuesday deal. $2 hot dogs and $2 chips. $2 mini bag of popcorn, $2 lemonade, $2 small slushie, $2 mini pizza, $2 pickle spears. That's 2 spears. $2 samosa from Clay Oven, and $2 Uncle Bob kebab from Mr. Pierogi, or a $2 small lumpia from Soul Bistro.
What?
So like Monday, Tuesday, you could take $10 to either place and eat like a king.
I think this is going to be huge we've seen what happens with the freaking loony dogs at the Jays games. I mean, they're putting up 100,000 dogs a night. I'm very excited to see how this goes. But yes, $2 Tuesdays at Blue Cross Park. And I love the dogs there. I am getting the foot-long Goldie dog, though, the next time I show up at the ballpark. But yeah, $2 popcorn. Great deals for Winnipeg sports fans. Tonight at Assiniboia Downs. Tomorrow at the Winnipeg Gold Eyes game.
I have the names here from the chat who typed in !MVP.
Love it.
For the MVP platter from Boston Pizza. What's on that platter? Sounds good.
The MVP platter. It's two of the small pizzas, like the pizza flights.
Okay.
And you can choose whichever ones you want. I believe it is is it chicken wings?
Oh.
You know, I'm going to get it up right now because we've got the menu here. The MVP platter.
Oh, this is pretty good. It's the most valuable platter, by the way. That's what it's.
MV platter. Okay, perfect. Okay, what's in it again? It's the pizzas?
I think it's. Hold on, let me see this. I gotta find the exact. It's giving me the AI Google answer, and I don't trust AI anymore. I asked AI, can you name me like the last like Stanley Cup winners, and it had Montreal Canadiens as one of them, and I was like, that didn't happen. So I have it right here. Here's the playoff feature menu.
Yeah, we got it here.
Where is this thing? I don't even have it.
I have it. I'm just looking to see. There's the MVP. Yeah, here it is. 2 6-inch pizzas paired with 6 oven roasted or fried wings tossed in your favorite flavor. 4 deep fried pickle wedges served with fresh veggies, ranch dip, and the new creamy garlic dip. So a couple pizzas, wings, pickle wedges. Is awesome. I actually had it last week. I just couldn't remember. I forgot about the pickles. So it's good. And those Stinger matzo sticks look really, really good as well. I might have to dip into those as well. All right. Anyways, if you win this, we're just going to need you to fire a quick email to winnipegsportstalk@gmail.com. So we've got your information, and our friends at BP can get you the platter.
Okay, we just got a breaking news NFL trade. A.J. Brown to the Patriots for a 2028 first-round pick and a 2027 fifth-round pick. So 2 big NFL trades today.
What did Diana Rossini break it?
I don't know. She deleted her X account. So
she'd been working pretty hard on that inside track for the A.J. Brown trade with the Patriots.
She was trying to get it done. So I can't see who broke it.
Wow, we'll have to do an NFL segment. Well, we will certainly with Hacksaw this week. But yeah, big. If you missed it earlier, Myles Garrett traded to the Rams for Jared Verse and a 1, a 2, and a 3. And now A.J. Brown going to New England from the Philadelphia Eagles for a 1st and a 5th round pick. All right, fire it up, Remo. Let's see who our winner is for today's Boston Pizza MVP.
Oh, it's
Shane Payne, you got right at the end. Joel Kevinson. Nicely done, Joel. Joel, send us an email just with your number and your well, I guess we'll have your email. And just let us know what the closest BP is that you'd be going to. I'm not sure whether this is something that they'll email you or you just pick it up at your local Boston Pizza. But name, number, email, and your home Boston Pizza. Congratulations to Joel. We'll be doing that every day this week and next week, hooking you all up with MVP platters to go and enjoy at Boston Pizza for the World Cup. All right, we got one more order of business today, Reem.
Yes.
We should get to some picks for the track tonight because it's Dollar Days at Monday at Assiniboia Downs. You just went through all those great deals. And now we got to figure out what we're looking at for the. Oh, I think I got to go with that one.
And I'm gotta say, I'm ice cold. I don't think I have any winners this year. It hasn't been a good start to the season for me. I don't have. Oh, I got one winner. I got 1-8. I have one win that I've picked. The other win was, I think, a horse that got withdrew, so I got my bet back.
Nice. Okay, a little refund. I'm going to. Well, you know what I'll do is because I have to make up one and do a double pick while I was away, but I'll do that for the day that we go on Wednesday. So I'll just roll with the regular our regular 20 today. Why don't you just roll down your picks? I'll just finish up mine as we.
I'm on race 2, 4, 6, 7. Race 2, I'm horse 2 to win. Mystery Dance. That's a second on the AI smart picks after I just said I don't trust AI. Maybe not in all situations. No, I definitely not all situations. You have to use common sense when using AI. Race 4 trifecta, $1 box, so $6 total. Horses 2, 3, 6. Nickety split. Nikolai Ehlers in the Stanley Cup Final. I have to go with Nickety split. Bougie Bitches. Oh, no, sorry. Bougie Britches. Horse 3. I had to reread that one. And the big favorites, Seal Your Soul. Race 6. I got another trifecta. 2, 6, 10. This is a huge race here. He Knows We Know. Rugged, Rooster, and Mr. Splash. Those are the AI smart picks. And race 7, horse 4 to win. Del Vecchio, not on the program selection. That's not on the AI smart pick.
Really?
Del Vecchio's a previous winner.
You love Del
legendary horse. Del Vecchio did win its last race at this distance at the Downs. That was May 19. I guess maybe the competition's higher. It's got a couple wins going back to September. Not on the it's 10-1, Huss. Not on the program selection, not on the AI. We know Del Vecchio. So
that we do. I see Maybella is back in race 6.
Maybella? Oh, man, these horses are becoming like the Ovechkin and Crosby of the Downs here, just around forever. Oh, yeah, there's Maybella. I've bet on Maybella so long ago.
Yep.
Wow. It hasn't performed very well in the last year, though. A lot of bottom finishes.
No, but we're waiting back to some nice big fields. And I see, you've got Del Vecchio there.
Yeah, I like Del Vecchio. I mean,
Miss Z was a great one last year.
it's just good Val on Del Vecchio.
Cajun Birdie in that last one. And then the program selections like this. AI Smart Picks like 10 for the big guy. Star Canoe. No, we're going to go with a different one. We're going to go Cajun Birdie. Throw $2 on that one. So here's what I have for today. I'm going race, I think 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I actually went with the triactor box early. Race 3, we're going 3, 4, 6. So Wicked Rose and Let's Have One More, both in the AI picks and program selections, adding in Wrong Direction. Love that name for a horse. So Wrong Direction, 3, 4, 6 triactor box. Race number 4, we're going Nickety Split to win.
Of course.
$4. Yeah, I had that one. Race number 5, we're doing the 1, 2, 5 triactor, kind of a combo of the program and the AI. Finding Ways, Tis Romantic, and Rags Royal Prince. And then just a couple toonies for the final 2 races. We're going number 9, Pickin' Riffs to win race number 6, $2. And as I mentioned just now, Cajun Birdie for a toonie to win in race number 7. And I'll double it up for a couple of the races later on this week. And yes, all of you winners, Dallas Cowboy, and was it Chantel?
Yes.
Or Chelsea?
No. Chelsea. It was Chelsea. And I emailed her first, and she never got back to me. I was like, oh, no. And then I emailed her again saying, hey, Chelsea, did you get this? And emailed back right away. Very excited to join us. And Dallas email wants to confirm the times. We'll send that all out. But very exciting to be back at the live racing and at the world famous buffet.
Oh my God, we're gonna chow and hopefully hit some winners on Wednesday night. Fun show today. Thanks to Mike and Derek Taylor. Don't forget, if you want more Bomber stuff, first Connor and Schnitzy on the channel right now. Check out the Bomber report out of the preseason heading into week 1. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., we'll be live with CFL 110. And, of course, tonight, Coach O'Shea with DT on the CJOB Coaches Show, which will get going at 7 o'clock tonight. Huge thanks to all of our sponsors. Don't forget, go to coolbet.com, bottom left corner, under sports, Coolbet Leagues. Get your predictions in for week 1 and set your reminders for Wednesday to get your picks in. I promise you, if you make your picks every week throughout the year, you will be in the mix, because people will inevitably miss a few weeks and then they'll be like, oh, I can't win. So consistency will take you to the top and maybe to Calgary for the Grey Cup. We are back tomorrow. Is Pagnotta on tomorrow, Reem?
Dave Pagnotta is at the Cup Final.
Yes.
And he will join us. He's got the rumors. It was media day today. Everyone's speaking to the media. So I'm excited to talk to Dave. It's been a bit. He's got some, rumors on, and we did mention that news story out on the changes to the national broadcast. Not confirmed or anything, but apparently there's conversations being had.
We will hit all of that. Thanks again to Connor and you, Reem, for holding it down while I was out pulling them in with the fellas at Aikens Lake. But it's great to be back. Fun show today. Bring on the Cup Final. Bring on the NBA Finals. Bring on a full week of homestand Gold Eyes games. Bring on the track. And bring on the CFL season, CFL 110 tomorrow at 10 a.m. We'll have our predictions for the year and take a look a little bit more at Bombers and Calgary on Friday night. Huge thanks to all of our sponsors. Don't forget tomorrow, grand opening of that massive new flagship Princess Auto. If you're in the neighborhood, I would make a point of getting in. There'll be incredible deals there. We know how they do it up. And we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow on the show. You have yourselves a great evening. Enjoy the nice weather, and make sure to join us 10 a.m. for CFL 110 and 1 o'clock tomorrow for Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. For Michael Remis, Connor Rabchak, I'm Andrew Paterson. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow on WST.
Oh, my God! Oh! Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for tuning in to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast feed at winnipegsportstalk.com.